Good morning to everybody. It's a kind request that this audience which is seated, please mute your phones. Please put it on airplane mode or on silent mode. And kindly settle down fast as we will be starting off the conclave very soon. Kindly settle down. All the students are requested to settle down and put your phones on silent mode or airplane mode, please. Thank you. A wonderful and a pleasant morning to all the respected dignitaries, ladies and gentlemen. I, Reggie Mayprith, would be your master of ceremony and would take you to the day's proceedings. It gives me an immense honor and pleasure on behalf of Jain University to extend a very warm welcome to all the esteemed dignitaries here today. Today, as we embark upon a new milestone to achieve, it is time that we all come together to make it a success. As we stand at the forefront of the digital era, the significance of cybersecurity cannot be overstated. Our interconnected world presents both unparalleled opportunities and unprecedented challenges. With each passing day, the cyber landscape becomes more complex, demanding a united and concerted effort to safeguard our digital infrastructure. Today, we are all gathered here for the conclave on Industry 5.0 and Challenges in Cybersecurity, organized by Jain University in association with the Center of Development and Advanced Computing, CDAC, DSCI, a NASSCOM initiative, Cybersecurity Center of Excellence, a joint initiative of DSCI and Government of Telangana, NASSCOM Center of Excellence, IoT and AI, a meaty initiative with Government of Karnataka, Haryana, Gujarat, and Andhra Pradesh, and finally, powered by our EdTech partner, Codinius. Within these walls, we have remarkable assembly of the industry experts, thought leaders, researchers, visionaries, all united by a common purpose to fortify the pillars of cyber defense and enhance the resilience of our digital ecosystem. This conclave is not just a platform for discussions. It is a testament to our collective dedication to combating cyber threats. Through enlightening sessions, engaging discussions, and networking opportunity, we aim to empower you with the tools and knowledge needed to stay one step ahead of the ever-adapting adversaries. Belief in oneself is one of the most important bricks in building a very successful venture. One such person whose perseverance and the belief in himself built this empire of knowledge. Dr. Chenraj Roychand, our most beloved founder chairman of the Jain Group of Institutions, with a loud round of applause. Let us all welcome sir for the first of its kind cybersecurity conclave in his absentia. Words never said without an experience. Achievements enhance your experience and lessons are learned and given from experience. Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed guests and honored attendees, please join me in extending a warm and heartful welcome to the eminent Dr. S.S. Iyengar, a true inspiration in his field whose perseverance and presence elevates this gathering to new heights. Dr. Iyengar's research contributions have spanned a large number of disciplines emphasizing computational problems in sensor networks, robotics, in the context of signal image integration and sensor fusion problems. He has laid the scientific foundations for cutting-edge software technologies that provide solutions to the fundamental problems in sensor fusion, critical event processing, and autonomous systems, and led the development to the whole range of commercial and government applications. Dr. Iyengar's influential textbooks in multi-sensor fusions, sensor network programming, wavelet analysis, distributed sensor networks have been used extensively and translated into many languages worldwide. Dr. Iyengar's paper on fast parallel thinning algorithms for binary image skeletonization was the most read article in International of High Performance Computing Applications in the month of January 2006. One of Dr. Iyengar's project, along with Dr. Poha, LA Tech, and Dr. Kannan, LSU, entitled Fast Web Page Allocation on Server Using Self-Organizing Properties of Neural Networks, was selected in the world's best technology showcase in the year 2007. This is highly competitive summit, and other competitors were Los Alamos Labs, Johns Hopkins University, EPA, NASA, and many others. Dr. Iyengar is presently associated as a distinguished university professor at Florida International University, Miami, USA, and also as a distinguished university professor at our own Jain deemed to be university. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, please put your hands together and welcoming Dr. Iyengar to the dais to brief you all about the conclave and give you a glimpse of the conclave. Dr. Iyengar.
Thank you very much for your kind introduction. It's an honor and a privilege to be here. And there are a lot of people who worked for this conference, but we'll talk about it and facilitate them at the end of the talk. This is a very important and unique conference or a workshop, that whatever you want to call. The interesting aspect of it is how we sort of integrate, the quality of learning and teaching that we do at the university with industries. Because what is very important at the end is, how do you translate your ideas to real products people can use and benefit out of that? So it is in that context, this is the first cybersecurity workshop on Industry 5.0 standards. This is very important, and there are a lot of important components that are very much needed for integration with many of the ideas that we teach our students at here and all around the world. And you know that there is what is called as protection of global cyberspace is very critical. I mean, not only in India, but all over the world. As on yesterday, I don't know how many of you have seen the news, the US ambassador to China's email has been completely hacked. And so this is the kind of situation and the circumstances that we have. It does not matter whether you're in United States or India or anywhere, hacking has become very common. And the people who do the hacking, they're very smart thinkers, they're very much good programmers and so on. So what is that we are interested now in the next phase with the integration of industries is how we can use artificial intelligence and the machine learning techniques to enhance and to minimize many of these cyber attacks. So the focus is essentially for this workshop, we have very, very eminent people, and I think you will see that as we move along. But the interesting thing is all of these cyber attacks that is taking place and how we can minimize it, how we can understand, is all in the context of human-centric. That's very, very important. And now anytime when we come up with any of these techniques that we are talking about, how can we sustain that? Even if there is a network attack, how can we minimize partially? So there's a lot of these kind of things that we will discuss today, at the panelist discussions. And then, of course, there are other important components in many of these applications. Is privacy by design component is also very important. Now, what is that? It is all amounts to is what we call as the digital economy. That's what we are in here now. Now, the most important component that I think is all the students who are sitting here, because the students, to me, are the primary component. During my recent visit to one of the president of a major university, when I visited him, a very famous, prestigious school, on his board, there was a symbol and a mark called "Every student counts." So that means I asked the president of that university to tell me a little more about it. He said, Dr. Iyengar, our job is to see how well we can educate and train our students. So this is what we call in United States called capacity building. So the area of cybersecurity is very much in need of that kind of capacity building, which is not there. I mean, there are different avenues to generate these kind of professionals who are really experts and minimize these kind of attacks that goes on every part of the world, and it can affect the economy and all the other things that we can think about it, even the infrastructure resources. So the statistics which I would like to sort of give you is just very briefly, not to take too much of your time. In 2022, there are 5.4 billion malware attacks globally. Okay, billion. So remember that I'm not just talking about one country or the other. Nearly 1 billion emails were exposed in a single year, and ransom attacks has been increased over 236.1 million globally. So cybercrime is up to 600%, as a result of COVID-19, and it has, especially in Florida where I live. I mean, there are a lot of old folks live, and there has been every type of attack, one way or the other, which has impacted the lives of some of these people. Cybercrime also will cost companies worldwide. It has an estimated $10.5 trillion, not billion dollars, $1 trillion annually by 2025. That's what they're projecting. So you can very well see the impact, and that we see that every day. And if you look at some of these statistics, cyber crime has already caused 6 trillion in damages. Only 10 to 12% of internet attack victims has been reported. So this is just to give you some facts and comments on the importance of this topic. So we are hoping this kind of gathering that we have will achieve two things, so that the students are well aware of the importance of this particular area, and then they'll be able to sort of think of some new ideas which can be used to minimize any of these attacks. I do not say that it will completely be eliminated. It will never be eliminated. And finally, the discussions will help us to come up with some very innovative methods to minimize these attacks. And I tell you, we have some really excellent people, excellent keynote speakers, and Dr. Dattaguru is also going to be talking on something very important also. But what in essence I'm trying to tell all the students who are sitting here, I would be very happy and delighted that to see that you involve in these kind of conversations to minimize the impact of cybercrime. So this is an important area in terms of building our professionals in India and all around the world. And so I think we are right on the spot to go in this direction. Again, I want to thank you for all. And I think thank you again, Reggie. So thank you for coming and sharing some of your time with many of the industry participants. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Definitely, it was enlightening that what is in store for us for the day was very clearly given. Shubham karoti kalyanam arogyam dhanasampada shatru buddhi vinashaya deepajyote namostute. To mark the beginning of this auspicious event, we now seek to invoke the blessings of the Lord Almighty by lighting the lamp. I request our eminent dignitaries to come forward to light the ceremonial lamp. And may I invite Bharat Narayan for invocation song of the Saraswati Vandana. Professor Bharat Narayan is a mathematics professor in Malanad Engineering College, and he's a visiting professor in the United States of America for spiritualism and music therapy. He was a Guruji for the ex-president of India, late Dr. Abdul Kalam, and he is bestowed with titles of Sangeeta Vidwan, Veda Vidwan, and Vidya Vachaspati, and many more to light. May I now request the audience to rise for the lamp lighting.
Please. You light the lamp first.
Asato ma sadgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityorma amritam gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Kindly be seated.
Good morning, each and everybody. Today, I have been requested to introduce myself first by S.S. Iyengar and some of the dignitaries here, which of course very shy of doing that. Still, as per request, I am doing. I am Professor Bharat Narayan, Veda Vidwan, Sangeeta Vidwan, international music therapist, and orator, and also philanthropist. And the rich Indian culture and heritage embedded with scientific and technical and medical talents is called Vedas. And I am an expert in it. And I am the Guruji, as already told, for respected President of India. I was a spiritual guide, Dr. Abdul Kalam sir, and Supreme Court Attorney General Parasharan, Prime Minister, all VIPs, including the common man in the village. Because Lord is there in every creature, in all the dimensions. And that's what you and I have to concentrate. We excel ourselves in whatever field you are working. And I would like to say that S.S. Iyengar had sponsored me for American universities, Washington, Cleveland, Atlanta, and of course his own Louisiana State University, where he was the Vice Chancellor for 2.5 months. I just visited there as a consultant therapist and counselor for engineers, doctors, students all over the world. With this small introduction, I hope that I have to go to invocation. Invocation is nothing but enlarging and extending yourself into higher dimension of the creator of all of us, called Lord or God. For every function, if it has to be successful, yes, there has to be a right invocation that comes from bottom of your heart and goes straight into your heart. That is the beauty of the Indian classical music and Vedas. I would like to mix this with Vedas and music. Manikya Veena Mupanada Janti Madalasa Manjula Vagmilasa Mahendra Neela Jyuti Komalangi ಮಾತಂಗ ಕನ್ಯಾಂ ಮನಸಾ ಸ್ಮರಾಮಿ. ಮಾತಂಗ ಕನ್ಯಾಂ ಮನಸಾ ಸ್ಮರಾಮಿ. If you want to earn money and serve the world with that, with satisfaction, you have to chase Saraswati first. The knowledge. Nahi jnanena sadrisham. In Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna explains, the knowledge that you earn will bring Mahalakshmi into you, near you. Don't chase money. Chase knowledge through Saraswati. Then Mahalakshmi will be following you. That is treasure, health, wealth, prosperity will be following you like a shadow. With this, I would like to pray Mahalakshmi also. Bhagya Lakshmi Varamma Saubhagya Lakshmi Varamma Nammani Saubhagya Lakshmi Varamma Nammani Saubhagya Lakshmi Varamma Nammani Saubhagya Lakshmi Varamma Nammani Saubhagya Lakshmi Varamma. Lakshmi Taye Varamma. Hejjaya melon hejjaya nikute Lakshmi Varamma. Hejjaya melon hejjaya nikute ಗೆಜ್ಜೆ ಕಾಲ್ಗಳ ಧ್ವನಿಯ ತೋರುತೆ. ಹೆಜ್ಜೆಯ ಮೇಲೊಂದು ಹೆಜ್ಜೆಯ ನಿಕ್ಕುತೆ ಗೆಜ್ಜೆ ಕಾಲ್ಗಳ ಧ್ವನಿಯ ತೋರುತೆ. ಸಜ್ಜನ ಸಾಧು ಪೂಜೆಯ ವೇಳೆಗೆ ಲಕ್ಷ್ಮೀ ಧನಲಕ್ಷ್ಮೀ ಧಾನ್ಯಲಕ್ಷ್ಮೀ ಬಾರಮ್ಮ. ಮಹಾಲಕ್ಷ್ಮೀ ತಾಯೇ ಬಾರಮ್ಮ. ಹೆಜ್ಜೆಯ ಮೇಲೊಂದು ಹೆಜ್ಜೆಯ ನಿಕ್ಕುತೆ ಗೆಜ್ಜೆ ಕಾಲ್ಗಳ ಧ್ವನಿಯ ತೋರುತೆ. ಸಜ್ಜನ ಸಾಧು ಪೂಜೆಯ ವೇಳೆಗೆ ಮಜ್ಜಿಗೆಯೊಳಗಿನ ಬೆಣ್ಣೆಯಂತೆ ಭಾಗ್ಯದ ಲಕ್ಷ್ಮೀ ಬಾರಮ್ಮ. ಹೆಜ್ಜೆಯ ಮೇಲೊಂದು ಹೆಜ್ಜೆಯ ನಿಕ್ಕುತೆ ಗೆಜ್ಜೆ ಕಾಲ್ಗಳ ಧ್ವನಿಯ ತೋರುತೆ. ಸಜ್ಜನ ಸಾಧು ಪೂಜೆಯ ವೇಳೆಗೆ ಮಜ್ಜಿಗೆಯೊಳಗಿನ ಬೆಣ್ಣೆಯಂತೆ ಭಾಗ್ಯದ ಲಕ್ಷ್ಮೀ ಬಾರಮ್ಮ. ನಮ್ಮಮ್ಮ ನೀ ಸೌಭಾಗ್ಯದ ಲಕ್ಷ್ಮೀ ಬಾರಮ್ಮ. ಲಕ್ಷ್ಮೀ ತಾಯೇ ಬಾರಮ್ಮ. ಸಕ್ಕರೆ ತುಪ್ಪದ ಕಾಲುವೆ ಹರಿಸಿ ಲಕ್ಷ್ಮೀ ಬಾರಮ್ಮ. ಸಕ್ಕರೆ ತುಪ್ಪದ ಕಾಲುವೆ ಹರಿಸಿ ಶುಕ್ರವಾರದ ಪೂಜೆಯ ವೇಳೆಗೆ. ಸಕ್ಕರೆ ತುಪ್ಪದ ಕಾಲುವೆ ಹರಿಸಿ ಶುಕ್ರವಾರದ ಪೂಜೆಯ ವೇಳೆಗೆ ಅಕ್ಕರೆಯುಳ್ಳ ಅಳಗಿರಿ ರಂಗನ ಶ್ರೀರಂಗನಾಥನ ರಾಣಿ ಬಾರಮ್ಮ. ಮಹಾಲಕ್ಷ್ಮೀ ಬಾರಮ್ಮ ತಾಯೇ ಬಾರಮ್ಮ. ಅಕ್ಕರೆಯುಳ್ಳ ಅಳಗಿರಿ ರಂಗನ ಚೊಕ್ಕ ಪುರಂದರ ವಿಠಲನ ರಾಣಿ ಭಾಗ್ಯದ ಲಕ್ಷ್ಮೀ ಬಾರಮ್ಮ. ಅಕ್ಕರೆಯುಳ್ಳ ಅಳಗಿರಿ ರಂಗನ ಚೊಕ್ಕ ಪುರಂದರ ವಿಠಲನ ರಾಣಿ. ಚೊಕ್ಕ ಪುರಂದರ ವಿಠಲನ ರಾಣಿ. ಚೊಕ್ಕ ಪುರಂದರ ವಿಠಲನ ರಾಣಿ ಭಾಗ್ಯದ ಲಕ್ಷ್ಮೀ ಬಾರಮ್ಮ. ನಮ್ಮಮ್ಮ ನೀ ಸೌಭಾಗ್ಯದ ಲಕ್ಷ್ಮೀ ಬಾರಮ್ಮ. ಲಕ್ಷ್ಮೀ ಬಾರಮ್ಮ. ಸುಮಂಗಲಿಯರಿಗೆಲ್ಲ ಸೌಭಾಗ್ಯವ ಕೊಟ್ಟೋ ಸೌಭಾಗ್ಯದ ಲಕ್ಷ್ಮೀ ಬಾರಮ್ಮ ಶುಕ್ರವಾರದ ಪೂಜೆಯ ವೇಳೆಗೆ ಬಲಗಾಲ್ ಮುಂದಿಟ್ಟು ಒಳಗೆ ಬಾರಮ್ಮ ಮಹಾಲಕ್ಷ್ಮೀ ತಾಯೇ ಬಲಗಾಲ್ ಮುಂದಿಟ್ಟು ಒಳಗೆ ಬಾರಮ್ಮ ಎಮ್ಮಯ ಮನೆಯೊಳಗೆ ಬಾರಮ್ಮ ಎಮ್ಮಯ್ಯ ಮನದೊಳಗೆ ಬಾರಮ್ಮ ಧಾನ್ಯ ಲಕ್ಷ್ಮೀ ಬಾರಮ್ಮ ಧನಲಕ್ಷ್ಮೀ ಬಾರಮ್ಮ ಭಾಗ್ಯಲಕ್ಷ್ಮೀ ಬಾರಮ್ಮ ಸೌಭಾಗ್ಯ ಲಕ್ಷ್ಮೀ ಬಾರಮ್ಮ ಮಹಾಲಕ್ಷ್ಮೀ ತಾಯೇ ಮಹಾಲಕ್ಷ್ಮೀ ಬಾರಮ್ಮ ಭಾಗ್ಯದ ಲಕ್ಷ್ಮೀ ಮಹಾಲಕ್ಷ್ಮೀ ಬಾರಮ್ಮ ಲಕ್ಷ್ಮೀ ತಾಯೇ ಬಾರಮ್ಮ ಲಕ್ಷ್ಮೀ ಭಾಗ್ಯಲಕ್ಷ್ಮೀ ಮಹಾಲಕ್ಷ್ಮೀ ಬಾರಮ್ಮ. ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು.
That was absolute bliss. Well, this conclave is being webcasted live at the YouTube channel of Jain University. You can please tell your near and dear ones for the same. Moving forward, Henry David Thoreau said, and I quote, "Success usually comes to those who are too busy looking for it." I unquote. It is my honor and pleasure to introduce you to yet another eminent personality now. Dr. Sriram Birudavulu is an eminent cybersecurity expert and a visionary leader with a distinguished career in technology and cybersecurity domains. As a CEO of Cybersecurity Center of Excellence, a strategic initiative of the Data Security Just one second, please. Sorry. I just missed it. Eleanor Roosevelt said, and I quote, "When you give joy to the other people, you get more joy in return. You should give a good thought to happiness that you can give out." I unquote. It is one of the most joyful moments of mine now to welcome a very distinguished and eminent personality to the conclave. Professor Bhagavatullah Dattaguru, born in 1942, is an Indian engineer and academician. A great lover of science, Dr. Dattaguru moved to Bangalore for higher studies and joined the Indian Institute of Science, IISc. He went on to complete BE in Electrical Engineering during 1959 to 62 and ME in Aerospace Technology during 1962 to 64. After he stood first and secured gold medal from Andhra University in his undergraduation, Dr. Dattaguru continued his association with the IISc by joining its faculty in the Aerospace Engineering Department in 1964. After receiving his PhD in 1973, he worked there as an assistant professor, associate professor, and a professor before retiring as chairman of the Aerospace Engineering Department in June 2004. During his time at the IISc, Dr. Dattaguru worked with space technology researchers, including Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, Dr. Kota Harinarayan, Dr. Kasturi Rangan. Dr. Dattaguru became an emeritus professor of the IISc after his retirement, and now he is a distinguished professor of aerospace at Jain University, Bangalore. A very long list of awards and honors stand as a testament to Dr. Dattaguru's exceptional contributions to the field of engineering, aerospace, and research. But I would like to definitely highlight a couple of them. Dr. Bhagavatullah Dattaguru was bestowed with DRDO Academic Excellence Award in 2002 and with Padma Shri Award for Science and Engineering, Government of India, year 2005. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, please put your hands together to welcome Dr. Bhagavatullah Dattaguru for the address to the conclave.
Dear Professor Iyengar, my friend for several years. I was a professor at the Indian Institute of Science, and Professor Iyengar came several times. He was, of course, a student earlier, alumnus of IASC. He was a visiting professor several times, and I was also in the administration. I had actually a very good time with him technically. When he was at the IASC. Welcome, sir. When we thought of cyber security, enhance the activity, of course, we have some faculty at Jain who are already actually teaching, but we wanted to enhance the activity. The first person who have thought of inviting and getting him here is Professor S.S. Iyengar. He is so distinguished and actually worked on all angles of the cyber security. When I actually consulted President Balakrishnan, who was Associate Director at IASC at one time, he said, get Professor S.S. Iyengar. How excellent was that advice, and it's actually working through very well. I actually welcome Professor Iyengar for this meeting, at this conclave. This industry 5.0, all the 4.0s are becoming actually 5.0s now. So this is a very good time to look at an area like cyber security. I also welcome, we missed Dr. Raichan Jain. He would have actually given an excellent insight about the Jain University activities. I am actually filling his space poorly. Okay, I will not be able to do as good as he would have done. But however, how we have actually come to this area is I was thinking that I would retire also a second time. Once I retired from IASC, I retired also once more from Jain University. He called me and said that you develop some areas of interdisciplinary research. So we thought of some areas like healthcare, also additive manufacturing, and also the materials. Then when I looked at the safety of a spacecraft, it's information from the spacecraft. What it said is people can also hack the information from spacecraft. From satellite, that's what we mean. So you immediately find that what has happened, look through and say, obviously, the important area is actually cyber security. Then I went on investigating, I find cyber security has entered every field of engineering. In fact, my third son, he works in a hotel in USA, in the Hilton. He loves actually hospitality. He one day came to me and said, I'm a cyber security expert here. Suddenly I realized the cyber security is required everywhere, including in hotels, all services, railways, airline bookings, banks. I don't know. If I have to quote, I think I will take fairly long time how this cyber security is going to affect every field, not only every technical field, not only every engineering field, but every part of your life. Wherever you go, you find somebody at the entrance sitting with a computer and a software, and they're trying to ask you who you are, and then enter. And every one of them are scared. Who will hack their information? Everybody is scared. So more or less, somebody may have actually a couple of people taking care of cyber security. Industry may have 100 people actually taking care of cyber security. That doesn't matter. It is everybody's life. The cyber security is very important. So with respect to that, I welcome Dr. Sriram, who is the CEO of cybersecurity is Center of Excellence. So DSCI. Again, I had to talk to my colleague and Dr. Balakrishnan. He said, yes, DSCI, along with the NASCOM, is also associated in form. He is actually our main institute. So you also welcome Madam Priya Madhavan of NASCOM to this meeting. Of course, then we have also signed a cybersecurity MOU with Dr. Sriram and NASCOM, also with the CDAC. Of course, I was a friend of CDAC from a long time. We also have one advanced computing society. We said once advancing computing is not only in the electrical communication, which is actually started from electrical communication people, but I do actually finite element methods. My colleagues do actually computational fluid dynamics. My other colleagues do actually thermodynamics areas. So we find that something like an advanced computing society is everything. They caught me and actually made me as a president at one time of the Advanced Computing Society. So at that time, we also had actually many from the CDAC Bangalore. So I am very happy. We have actually Dr. Balaji, who is an associate director of CDAC, and we have an MOU with them. We also welcome actually Dr. Balaji. Then we have actually several panelists. Of course, if I actually go through there, this one need to be quite some time. I am actually, it's exceed the time given to me by our chairman. So I actually welcome all of them. All of them are known here. They're all very well known, very distinguished. You will have a very nice discussion with the panel after 11:20, as I see from the program. Then, of course, I welcome all the students of the Jain University who are actually aspiring to actually learn on the cybersecurity. I tell you, in the next years to go, I don't know how long, 10, maybe 20, maybe further. This is going to be a very, very important area. As I told you, it's not only industry, major, of course, industry is the major 5.0. But all services are going to have and look for people who are taking care of the cyber security. Maybe industry, if somebody hacks, they may be able to reconvert whole thing. In services, it is something actually terrible. If suppose there is a reservation thing is hacked, the people will really have a lot of problem. So everybody knows that they have to have enough technical people who will actually take care of it. So my dear students, you may be a cybersecurity expert only, or you may be a mechanical engineer, you may be a communication engineer, you may be aerospace engineer. The cybersecurity becomes very, very important. I talked to our chairman of ISRO, who also actually happened to be an ISC student. He said, yes, this cybersecurity. Of course, I talked to him about the digital twin, what I've been working recently, and the cybersecurity. He said, these areas are becoming very, very actually vital for us. There's no question. So you don't have to look back if you want to acquire some competence in the cybersecurity area. You may still actually keep your basic engineering interest, plus the cybersecurity associated with it. You will be one of those who will be most preferred in the engineering field, in the services field, everywhere. Of course, I basically actually talk of the aerostructures. Though very recently, I was wondering, I was actually aging a lot. So shall I do something on the data science or something shall I do with the age of the AI, ML? Then I said, my students are there who are my actually precious wealth. So I just now actually finished one PhD thesis on using the machine learning in how to actually hybridize a composite, because the composites are made of some carbon fiber. You all hear of LCA. The carbon fiber is laminates, but there is a way in which you can improve its performance by actually hybridizing. You can put some glass fibers and then I mix with actually carbon fiber laminate. So then you find you need to do a lot of work to find out what is the optimum way in which you need to do it. So this is thanks to one of my students, and she made me to learn something on the machine learning, and she has completed. And I had another boy who worked on the FDR data. FDR data is actually flight data recorder. Every aircraft there is a flight data recording of the loads it's actually going to. So the flight data recorder, black box, what you call. After every accident, you find everybody is looking for actually black box. So you take actual flight data recorders data, and then you do actual machine learning analysis using the regression models of various types, linear regression, non-linear regression. Another student is working on the information from a drone. So in a drone, there is actually more of actually non-linearity compared to a fighter like LCA. Then we find you can use the machine learning aspect there, and you can also discover any actual damages occurring. As I am actually speaking, we had Dr. Krishnan, our actual main administrator at the Jain University, Dr. N.H. Krishnan, he has come in. So it's welcome, sir. So this is how good. I took up to 10:40. So fill the space. I think the 10:40 actually Dr. Sriram is supposed to start. So I have filled the space up to 10:40, though they give me less time. So I thank you very much. So I just wanted to say that the AI and ML, now actually Dr. Iyengar is exciting us to build drones with AI ML. That is where the aerospace is going to interact with him quite seriously. We have one actually young professor called actually Dr. Hariprasad. He is going to work on working with AML. I talked to actually Dr. Kota Harinarayan recently, and I told him, he said he has left wherever he's working. He is also actually 80 plus. So he told me, but I told him that you should review at least whatever work we are doing. He said he will be very happy to do. So actually we are going to have some intense interaction with Dr. Iyengar. So my friends, I thank you very much. I thank all the students for coming in. Of course, you can actually learn about the cybersecurity in the internet and various places, and see where you want to acquire certain competence in the area of the cybersecurity. There is nothing like quoting that you got this from Professor S.S. Iyengar, who is an international authority in the area of this cybersecurity. Okay. And then the Florida International University. He has also worked in lot of universities in India, in Gujarat, in the NFSU, with us, with the Chanakya University. He worked with ISC. He worked in actually so many of the universities. You are actually quite blessed. Have a good opportunity to learn cybersecurity from. Is it appropriate to call it? It's horse's mouth. I don't know, but anyway, it is. I think it's an opportunity for you to learn from the correct personalities in the cybersecurity. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. I once again say that this conclave is being webcasted live at the YouTube channel of Jain University. You can tell your near and dear ones to have a look at that also. Moving forward, Henry David Thoreau said, and I quote, "Success usually comes to those who are too busy looking for it." I unquote. It is my honor and pleasure to introduce you to yet another eminent personality now. Dr. Sriram Birudavolu is an eminent cybersecurity expert and a visionary leader and a distinguished career in technology and cybersecurity domains. As a CEO of the Cybersecurity Center of Excellence, a strategic initiative of the Data Security Council of India under NASSCOM, he has been instrumental in fortifying India's cybersecurity landscape. As a CEO of the Cybersecurity Center of Excellence, Dr. Sriram has led a transformative journey fostering collaboration, innovation, and excellence in the cybersecurity domain. His strategic vision and leadership have positioned India as a global leader in cybersecurity research, development, and education. Prior to this, Dr. Sriram was associated with T-Hub Hyderabad, Oracle India Private Limited, as well as Hewlett Packard. Dr. Sriram completed his doctorate in philosophy in international business, open innovation in ICT telecom, IT, technology innovation strategy from the Indian Institute of Foreign Trade. Dr. Sriram's academic journey and illustrious career reflects his unwavering commitment to advancing cybersecurity and technology innovation. His contributions to the field have not only garnered widespread recognition, but also have positioned him as thought leader in the industry. Under his visionary leadership, the Cybersecurity Center of Excellence has become a catalyst for innovation and a hub for cybersecurity excellence in India. Dr. Sriram's relentless pursuit of securing our digital future continues to inspire and empower cybersecurity professionals and students alike. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Dr. Sriram, and I request Dr. Sriram to address the gathering.
Hello, everyone. Well, thanks for that very generous introduction. I wouldn't call myself an expert or a what you call someone who is pushing the frontiers of cybersecurity in any measure, in the sense that I've done my share of contributions, but of course it takes a lot, and especially in a field that is so rapidly evolving. Okay. So I'm here, I'm very honored to be in the presence of such luminaries like Professor Dattaguru, Professor Iyengar, and also all the dignitaries from the industry and the academia, okay, and who have been all contributing towards this field and towards science and technology in general. And of course, my colleague from NASSCOM, Priya Madhavan, and my colleagues from Cybersecurity Center of Excellence, Sai Krishna and Harshita. Could you just stand up for a moment, please? Yeah. And Priya Madhavan, please, so that everyone can see. So actually, I'm happy to be here. We are signing an MOU with this prestigious Jain University, and we'll be happy to be a part, to play a part in its cybersecurity roadmap and strategy. So DSCI, just to introduce, DSCI, Data Security Council of India, is the cybersecurity arm of NASSCOM. Okay, and NASSCOM, as you know, is a prestigious industry body, okay, which focuses on the IT industry, not merely the IT companies, but also all the ones which have an IT footprint, which is practically every company you can think of. So you have in its membership banks, pharma, so many other companies also, not merely software services companies. So anything cybersecurity and privacy comes to DSCI. So we have this Cybersecurity Center of Excellence in Hyderabad, which I head. And what we do is, yeah, can go on to the next slide. Yeah. So we have, I don't know how many of you can see the slides here. This side's a little bit difficult. Yeah. Okay, probably there they can see. So we have this overarching goals. There are 3 goals that we have. So the first goal is to build a very strong and resilient cybersecurity space. Okay. So that's very important because with increasing threats, as Professor Iyengar has mentioned, there are almost 1 lakh malwares being generated every day, many of them generated automatically. And there are a billion of them at least, so you can take your count, but of them floating free in the cyberspace. So we need to strengthen and really make our cyberspace very strong and resilient. The second goal is to help our industry capture a share of that $2 trillion market which is out there, okay, in cybersecurity. What will happen if the industry doesn't invest $2 trillion in it? Well, it would suffer damages to the tune of 15 trillion. So these are published reports. And it's growing in a very non-linear manner. The reason being that digitalization is rampant, rife. It is touching every aspect. There's hardly anything that doesn't have cyber in it. Okay. You see all around, even devices, consumer devices, whether it's a washing machine or an AC or a fridge or a refrigerator or a TV, smartphone, everything has the word smart, 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 smart in it. Okay. So that's only going to increase. So we can capture a share of that market. To this end, we are doing our bit in which we are increasing the footprint of cybersecurity in the industry. We have several reports published and we have several thought leadership roundtables, as well as discussions, programs, reviews, everything happening, events conducted, courses which are run, FDPs, faculty development, student development, and so on. So that is there. And the third one is to accelerate innovation and entrepreneurship in the cyberspace. So innovation and entrepreneurship are entirely 2 different things. Supposing there's a normal shopkeeper, he's an entrepreneur, but he's not an innovator because he's doing the same thing over and over again. Both are required to push the envelope. So essentially, we are incubating about 35 plus cybersecurity startups, cybersecurity and privacy startups. Okay. So overall in India, if you see, there are about 300 to 350 cybersecurity product companies that are homegrown domestic Indian companies. There are many in services. Okay. So I'd strongly urge you to read the India Cybersecurity Landscape report published by DSCI. So this is where we are. And these are our goals, 3 overarching goals. And yeah, we can go on to the next slide. Yeah. So this is a brief glimpse of what that $2 trillion cybersecurity market is all about. So you see that there are different areas, right? From identity and access management to various different areas. The next one. This is our governing council team. So you can see that we have representatives from DSCI, the chairman of DSCI, Mr. Pramod Basan, to CEO of overall DSCI is Vinay Godse, to representatives from MAITI, from NSCS, National Security Council Secretariat, and so on. And we are in Hyderabad. So the principal secretary of IT and industries is also part of our board. Okay, then we have Cisco represented there and managing director of JP Morgan Chase and on. So we are backed by powerful government and industry people. Okay, so Mr. V. Rajanna, who's TCS, he's a vice president in TCS. Yeah. Next. So here are the pillars of our Cybersecurity Center of Excellence. So there are 5 pillars. Briefly, the first one is the tech industry, large, medium, and small industries. So technology industries is those companies which produce technology products and services. So the large ones are all the large ones you can think of, ranging from Cisco, Microsoft, IBM, Infosys, Wipro, and all. Then there are mid-tier number of companies which provide technology products and services. Then you have startups. So for startups that we incubate, we provide access to market, access to capital, access to mentors, access to collaborations. And of course, in this day and age of AI and ML, you need access to data as well. and also access to talent, which is quite scarce in cybersecurity. So there's a huge gap between the supply and demand. So we help provide all of these to the industry. The second pillar is that of government. So we have central government, state government, law enforcement agencies, defense, policy-making bodies, and so on. So we do that. We participate in the policy making. We help in research. We help in what you call various government initiatives like the State Data Center or the Cybersecurity SOC, which is there, Security Operations Center, and also help them craft strategies on what to do next. So that is the government side of things. Then academia and R&D is a perfect example. Jain University. So in the sense that in academia, as I mentioned, that there's a huge gap in the overall ecosystem, the supply and demand. So what happens is that the unemployment rate in cybersecurity is in the negatives. Okay, maybe negative 15% or something like that. So this is a ripe field for everyone to pick up here. Whether you are a researcher, whether you are a student, whether you are a professional, there is something in it for everyone. And cybersecurity cuts across all verticals and horizontals. So right from chip level security to hardware, network, platform, application layer, cloud, you have fake news detection, videos detection, to cyber forensics, quantum computing, and so on. And of course, there's a whole privacy domain in which there are a number of privacy roles that are coming up. About 137 countries in the world are going to adopt privacy laws as per UNCTAD report. So which means that if you were to be doing business with any of those countries, you will need to adhere to the privacy laws of that country. Otherwise, you will be caught. You'll be in the court of law. And as per GDPR norms, one cannot escape. So for example, there's a principal, which is probably a bank in Europe, let's say, and that bank has outsourced many operations to some company in India, and which in turn has subcontracted some part, then the entire chain is liable in the court of law of Europe. It is not merely the principal or not merely the processor who is the person sitting in the other country. Okay, so that's the academy and R&D. What do we do for them? We have faculty development, student development programs, hackathons, events, various different collaboration programs, including with international institutes. So we have various collaborations with international institutes such as Edith Cowan University, Iowa State University, University of London, okay, TU Delft, and so on, Netherlands, and so on. Hague Center for Strategic Studies and all. Then we have user groups. So user groups are the fourth pillar. What are user groups? User groups are that part of the industry which is the user side of the industry, like banks, energy companies, retail, pharma, e-commerce companies, and so on. Okay, they have large IT teams, but they are not producing technology products and services to sell to the others. So they are rather the consumers. So why are they important to us? Because they are the ones who buy cybersecurity products and services. They are the ones who report breaches. They are the ones who define customer experience. And also, the most important of all, they define use cases. So we run something called use case clearinghouse workshop, in which we extract the critical use cases out of these, and then we present them to the first pillar so that we have various excellent products coming out, okay, superior products coming out. The last but not the least is collaborations, is a perfect example of collaborations. So what we do there is that we use collaborations to scale up, because you realize that you can't do everything in the world ourselves. So you do that to scale up our programs. So we have collaborations with local, national, international bodies, okay, like we have with Greater NASCOM, with Greater DSCI, with CII, FICI, FTCCI, T-Hub, okay, and with Hague Security Delta, Hague Center for Strategic Studies, okay, with Cyber West Australia, and so on. So we have a number of collaborations. So with these collaborations, we try and achieve the scales. One of the best examples is the Indo-Dutch cybersecurity school that is coming up in the month of October. I highly urge you all to register for it, all the students here, because that would give a glimpse into the cybersecurity, eclectic topics on cybersecurity for a full month, every day evening, 2 hours, and taught by experts from Netherlands. It's a virtual one, and we kept it very nominal. The fee something like for 400, 500 rupees or something for a month-long program, and then you do the challenges and do the what you call get a certificate, which is very valuable. Next. Yeah. So these are our focus areas as any industry body should be having: innovation, market access, research, capability development, incubation, events, insights, networking. So as I probably didn't mention, but we do research also with academic institutes, research programs also what we run. Okay, for example, on IoT security, we did one entire paper. We did publish 3 papers with them, okay, including one to navigate the standards itself. The things are getting complex. In the past 3 years alone, there are some 6 standards which have evolved. Next. So for those of you may be wondering that what does the career map of cybersecurity look like being students? So here's a glimpse. So you look at all the technology areas at the bottom, and as you rise, you look at the different increasingly managerial as well as architectural roles, and finally the CISO roles and so on at the top. Okay, so one can navigate very rich openings here, practically anything to suit your taste, in the sense that if you're interested in finance, fintech, there is IoT, there is cloud, there are embedded systems, hardware security, so on. All this, all of you, those who are techies, those who are non-techies, there's a lot of roles in management which are out there. Yeah. So the next slide would show data privacy roles that are coming up. So if you look at data privacy roles that are there, for those of you who are interested, is an absolutely new burgeoning area, which you should definitely consider. Especially, of course, the law students should be very interested in it, but all the others also. This is really growing. Cybersecurity and privacy are like cousins. Okay, they are very symbiotic. Yeah. So here's again a snapshot overview, a small sample of the collaborations that we have. Okay, right from City of London Corporation to various different areas, ICFI, all the 5 pillars are covered here. Yeah. So we do incubation. So here are the list of offerings in our incubation center. So I'm hoping that we can help propagate the same everywhere, right? Yeah. Next. So we have 35 plus startups in the Cybersecurity Center of Excellence who are incubating with us. So now all the startups that we are connected to are not necessarily incubating with us, because once which have crossed a certain stage, they will not be incubating with us any longer. They are there in the ecosystem and are very much connected to us, and we are running programs. But we are certainly, these startups which are incubated are a special focus for an area for us, because they are the ones that we nurture and grow. Next. So these are some names here, names of our startups that we are incubating. Okay, they cover the spectrum, right from VAPT to IoT security to DevSecOps, threat mitigation, identity and access management, and so on. Yeah. Okay. So this is to show that it has the backing of both the government and the industry. Next. Here's again a few of our publications we published. Okay, I would highly recommend that you download and read them. Okay, we are an industry body, so it is meant for the industry rather than being a research paper. That also we will be doing, because we've done that with many of our institutes that we are tied up with. For example, we did a research symposium with ICFI University, with Symbiosis. One is coming up with NIT Warangal, and so on, and hopefully with Jane. Yeah. Next. Yeah. We've participated in many national and international conferences: Arab International Cybersecurity Summit, Bahrain, JISEC, Dubai, Netherlands, and VLSID conference, E-Motor Show, where we brought out paper on automotive security. Okay, because automotive security is really gaining a lot of importance. Next, yeah. So again, a brief glimpse of the numbers, number of professionals trained and so on. Yeah. Yeah, next slide. Yeah. So again, user groups, collaborations, thousands upon thousands of professionals we've trained. Yeah. Next. LEA are law enforcement agencies. We've done program for the police, for defense forces, for intelligence agencies, law enforcement, and the next levels, which are the prosecution and the judiciary also. Okay. In fact, as part of DSCI, we have here CCI TRL, which is Cybercrime Investigation Training and Research Laboratories, which are in the CID campus, and they are specially focused on cybercrime investigation training in forensics. Okay. Indo-Dutch Security School, we are running it from 3 years. Okay. It was a huge and great AppSec hackathon. We'll again let you know, in which it was India-wide, and we had a number of participants, thousands of them. It was very good. So again, this time when it is coming up, I strongly, highly urge many of you, I hope to see you there. Okay, yeah. Several programs in 2023 already. Yeah. So 2022, 2021, and 2020. So we had even conducted one with SCO. SCO is a consortium of nations that are focused on eliminating the 3 evils of extremism, terrorism, and separatism. The first time it was held in India, it was in Hyderabad, and intelligence agencies from 8 countries came down here, and we held that. Okay, they covered a number of areas ranging from dark web to tracking terror groups to human trafficking to drugs to various different areas, and how they did that to antique smuggling to various areas. So it was pretty intensive and it was very well received. In fact, it was a closed doors one, obviously outsiders are not invited. Yeah. Okay. So 2019. And yeah, this is how to engage with us, corporate, startups, just participation of programs and so on. Yeah. So this is the one on Indo-Dutch especially, which is one on the table. This is coming up in October. Registrations are open. Please feel free. So we are very happy to announce that 2 courses which you are doing with Jain University also, academic courses. So in that academic courses, definitely there's a chance that we have aligned it in such a manner that you can even get Future Skills Prime credits from NASCOM. So overall in cybersecurity, yeah, I guess we're done with that slides. Is there any next slides? Yeah. So this is the one. Yeah. So I'd urge you to follow us on LinkedIn, because you'll keep abreast of all the programs that we are publishing or doing. You'll know our calendar and all. So that is one thing. So I want to leave you with a few thoughts that cybersecurity is rapidly evolving. That is one of the reasons I said that nobody can claim that he is in fact pushing the envelope, because as I told you, there are so many malwares coming out. We talk to several, we learn from others pretty much as Professor Dattaguru and Mrs. Iyengar sir had said. For example, there is a company that is putting this ransomware intelligence right into the chip. At the chip level, they are tackling it with PUF, which is physically unclonable function. So the moment that chip is there, that will in fact immediately track that some malicious behavior, the operations is happening, and it will trap it there only. So before it has encrypted off the entire thing, at the level of the rack itself, then it will signal an alert and it will do it. So once that is there, all the other layers are required, of course, like identity access management, all those layers are required, but right from the hardware level, they're doing it. Then there are others which are like device fingerprinting. So for example, you have so many devices, IoT, you're going to increasingly rely on more and more devices. Almost practically in every home, as I mentioned, that there are so many devices. So if some unknown device comes in, how do you handle that? Or it's a rogue device. So there's something called device fingerprinting, in which you check various parameters of the device itself, which are not so obvious, because for us, it appears that as if one device is the same as the other device, one TV set is the same as another TV, or something else is the same as some SCADA system, or some smart device is the same as the other device. But no, if you go down to the clock level, the skew of the clock which is there, that probably is different for each one of them. They carry a unique fingerprint. So similarly with, let's say, a smart TV may buffer more data and may have longer packets. A light bulb may have few blips, that's it, on, off. So it is short. So what happens is that based on all these things, device characteristics, they fingerprint it. And based on that, they will know that this is something alien, some other device has come into the picture. So that's how they can track it without human. That's why AI, ML are being heavily used. So I would urge you to treat cybersecurity and privacy as something integral to whatever you do, whatever you're doing. So it is, we highly recommend cybersecurity by design, security by design, and privacy by design. Okay. So if you were to take, and it is very natural, security should not be something that is retrofitted into the system. So if you take something very natural like a human body, okay, immunity is built in. You see that there are white blood cells, immunity, which is built in. It is not something added on later, integral. It is part to that any natural system that you take. That is how we should treat that. And then you will be on the right track. Please reach out to us for any help anywhere. We are all learning all the time. All the best to you. Thank you very much, the Jain University.
Thank you so much, sir. It was really insightful for all the students as well as to everybody of us sitting over here. Moving forward, Paulo Coelho said, and I quote, "When we strive to become better than we are, everything around us becomes better too." One such person who just strived to be better each day is our keynote address speaker. Ms. Priya Madhavan is a distinguished professional with a profound impact on technology industry, currently serving as the driving force behind the Strategic Industry Initiative at NASSCOM, National Association of Software and Service Companies. With a stellar career spanning several years, she has consistently displayed remarkable leadership and vision, elevating the Indian IT new milestones. As the head of Strategic Industry Initiative, Ms. Madhavan plays a pivotal role in fostering collaborations and partnerships between key stakeholders within the IT ecosystem. Her astute understanding of industry trends and cutting-edge technologies enables her to spearhead initiatives that drive innovation, facilitate growth, and solidify India's position as a global technology leader. Ms. Priya's accomplishments are a testament to her dedication and expertise in promoting inclusive growth within the technology sector. Her strategic acumen has led to the development of the programs that nurture startups, empower entrepreneurs, and nurture talent, contributing to thriving and dynamic IT landscape in India. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, please put your hands together for Ms. Priya Madhavan. And I request Ms. Priya to give the keynote address.
No, I'll change it myself. That's why I just wanted the laptop here. Just one. Thank you so much, Jain University. It's indeed a pleasure to be amongst such eminent people like Professor Dattaguru, Professor S.S. Iyengar, and various other senior dignitaries here. And of course, it's always a pleasure to see the students. And I hope you guys are not sleeping and you are charged up to know what's going to happen here. The purpose of my presentation is I'm going to be speaking, continuing what Sriram sir mentioned. For this country to survive and grow, we need to have digital talent. And what are we doing as India to ensure that we have the necessary talent to be the #1 destination for digital skills across the globe? So that's essentially my presentation today. The master of ceremonies gives a very flowery introduction, so thank you so much, but lots of it I think is more nice adjectives. Just to quickly say, I've roughly about 29 years of experience, and just the last 4 years has been with the industry body. Prior to that, I was with the industry. My last role was with Cognizant, and I was heading the security practice in Cognizant. And interestingly, I just got into security in the year 2013. Till then, I didn't know anything about security. I was actually asked to take up this practice and lead it. But I would really thank my senior or my manager for letting me get into it, because even yesterday I got a call from a headhunter saying that, are you looking for a job change? Like 5 years out, I'm out of corporate and still I've been looked at by headhunters for job. So what I'm going to tell you as students, if you're in the field of security, there is no need to worry about job security. Technology advances, cybersecurity solutions are needed. Erstwhile, it was all within in on-prem kind of enterprise. You needed security. When it became cloud, you needed security. IoT, we are talking about drones. As the technology advances, you need to ensure that there is safety and security. So security professionals, you can be rest assured that your life is made and made very well. Like when you start your career as a cybersecurity professional, you will definitely get 1.5x more than a regular engineer. So I can state that confidently because I knew what was happening in the industry. So quickly going on to the presentation. So this is so staggering. We are talking about digital transformation. We are seeing digital transformation happening right out here in India. Look at the numbers. It is so staggering. There is 1.1 billion cell phone connections. That's about 77% of Indian population are using cell phone today. 692 million internet users. That's 48.7% of the population. 467 million social media users, which is about 32.8%. These are such staggering numbers. And look at the transactions that are happening on digital. Digital transaction is 8840. In fact, I was trying to see how many zeros should I follow, 8840 for 1 lakh crores, because that is the kind of transactions that is happening. It's actually, and then you have 3021 lakh crores worth of digital transaction. What does all this mean? What does all this mean? Why are we so concerned about digital transactions? The more and more we are digital, we are connected, we are on the digital world, we need to ensure that our data is safe and secure. I'm sure most of you, I think many students are kind of losing out here. Have you all ever heard of something called as phishing? Right? Have you heard of SMSing? Have you heard of wishing? Have you all faced it? There is a high likelihood that you all will, I mean, it's easy for a hacker to actually try, as earlier speakers were saying, they are very, very intelligent. The bad actors are very intelligent. They are always one step ahead of the good actor. The reason being, they just have to take care of one loophole. Whereas when we are protecting the system, we need to take care of 200 different parameters, but they just need to take care of one loophole. With everything becoming digital, it will become more and more required to be ensuring that the situation is safe and secure. And cybersecurity is such an area, it affects you as an individual, it'll affect the enterprise, it'll affect the country that you're in, and it can affect a global, it can have a global implications also. If you've not taken care of it rightly. I think there's a saying which says cybersecurity is going to be the 5th layer of defense. So that important is cybersecurity for the country. The wars that we may see going forward could be a cyber war with no bloodshed, but the impact that cyber war could do to the nation could probably bring down the nation itself. So that is the impact. When we are saying digital transformation, there are a lot of benefits, but it is also even more important to make sure that your environment is safe and secure. As I said earlier, it was only on-prem. Now we have cloud and on-prem. So the data is across, the periphery is extending. There are so many sensors we are talking about. People have sensors on the body to measure various parameters. There are sensors within there are instruments within the body also. And imagine if a person gets to hack it, it could cost the life of the individual. So that important is the field of cybersecurity. And I just got the news. I was trying to figure out what's the ransomware attack that is happening in India. Actually, it has gone up by about 57% since last year. Now the 77% of the Indian enterprises are having ransomware attack, and it's gone up from 57%. But one very interesting data that I got was the people who were, guys, you all know what ransomware attack is? Yes? Okay, so what is it? Very nice. Could somebody just stand up? It was a good answer. Could you just? Why are they asking money? Yeah, you're right. But why are they going to blackmail? Because I, as an individual, cannot access the data. When they try to take my data, they're going to take my data, encrypt my data. So there's no way I can access my data. So they'll say, I will give you the decrypting code, provided you pay me the money. Okay. So interestingly, the enterprises today, and I was so happy to see this, 44% of the companies which got hit by ransomware paid money to get their data back. And this has gone down 78% from the last year. So what does that mean? The enterprises are making their environment much more safer. So they are following the best practice of cybersecurity, having a backup, making sure only trusted credentials are using the data. So this was very, very interesting. People are paying ransomware, but the percentage who's paying has come down 78% from the previous year. And of course, as recent as increase in cyber threats, I think we all heard about the 80,000 COVID patients' data got recently breached. So breaches will happen. Web portals will keep getting breached. But if you're able to protect your solution, you can minimize your risk and probably handle the situation much faster and come and get to being operational very quickly. Of course, all the regulations, more and more regulations will come in. The need for maintaining security increases much further. So I saw that CIFA had quite a few certifications, about 24 odd certifications, which Jain University has looked at, so which probably addresses everything right from network security to forensics to AI and everything. But what I did not see was, sorry. What I did not see was cloud security. So I'm not sure if you were covering as part of something else, but I think when you're looking at skilling, it would be very, very important to look at cloud security also. And so these are some of the job roles which got defined by the industry, and we as SSC, NASSCOM and DSCI put together to the government, and these are approved job standards. Forensic, which Dr. Sriram was mentioning, also has a qualification which is standards approved. So if Jain University adopts it, you could take up the SSC certification. So people can take up the SSC certification. When they pass and get over 70%, they get a certificate with Skills India, NCVET, all the logos put there. So as I said, my focus here today was to ensure that we as a country are skilled enough, skilled in digital talent, to ensure that we continue to be the global hub. IT industry contribute to 9% of country's GDP, which is significant, the area that we all play a role contributes to 9% of country's GDP. And if you look at the graph that is seen here, what you see in 2020, 70 to 72%, the revenue is to come from the traditional services and about 30% used to come from digital. And when we say digital, it's more solutions which uses AI, big data, cyber, cloud, IoT, blockchain, etc. And going forward, 2025, it's almost going to be 50 to 60% of the country of the revenue is going to come from digital services. And what does this mean? This means that we need to have more and more people skilled on digital technologies so that we are able to deliver the solutions on these technologies. This is a very, very critical point. It is important to increase our presence in the digital skilling space. This is an interesting data which I thought I will share with you, obviously very related to the previous slide. The expectation demand supply gap for a traditional skill is about 11 to 13%. Whereas the demand supply gap for a digital skill is almost close to 26%. So today the gap is about 5 million. In another 2-3 years, the gap is going to be 3x times, 3.5 million. So what is going to be 0.5? The demand is going to be 1.5, almost 1.5. So there is a lot of opportunity as long as people are getting themselves skilled in the digital space. So what is India doing for this? So India, along with India's, since 9% of country's GDP is on this, obviously country is very concerned about it. And one of the initiatives that MIT, Ministry of Electronics, IT and NASSCOM are together doing is having a platform called Future Skills Prime. So Future Skills Prime is to ensure that technology is made available to everybody. And today it's not, IT skills are not just for IT industry. You need IT skills across the industry. As Sriram just mentioned, a semiconductor industry also needs, IT skills, or automotive industry, which could be a hard, today an automotive industry actually has more computer science than actually the mechanical portions to it. Of course, retail industry, every industry is hit with IT. So there's no growth without having IT there, and AI and big data are big players. Cybersecurity, of course, to ensure that the data is safe and secure. So there is a need to have awareness of digital skills across the board. And it is not enough just having the digital skills. You also need to have the soft skills, especially for a person. I heard that Jain University is going to set up a SOC. For a SOC individual, the person has to be technically good, and the person also has to be balanced, because when a threat happens, he or she needs to be level-headed to handle it rather than getting anxious about it. So it is very important to have the soft skills also. And the point was, when we are doing something at the India scale, the learning has to be affordable. So people should be able to, anybody across the strata, whatever strata, they should be able to access this, get themselves skilled and be ready for the workforce. Opportunity is very big. We are looking at $1 trillion economy, and this is going to create almost a 65 million jobs in India by 2025, 2026. As I said, this is not just limited across one industry, it's spread across all verticals. But the challenge now is the second point where we are all talking. The challenge is lack of skills. People who are coming out of college are really not having the skills that is needed by the industry. Only 20% of the 20% of the students who are coming out from engineering colleges are actually fit to take up jobs in the digital space in the industry, which is a worrying data. I think that's why probably Jain University has a lot of interesting subjects that they are covering, so that the students have the right skills to be employed in the industry as of now. And the solution is one of the platform that we are doing as part of MIT and NASCOM. So that's the Future Skills Prime, focused to build digital talent for the country. So the focus is to get, the platform aims to actually skill about 4 lakh people in 3 years. The platform has content across all the technologies, the 10 technologies that we spoke about. It has assessment across various subjects. Then people can also take up assessment. When they take up the assessment, pass the assessment, government actually incentivizes the learner. A learner can get money back up to about 8,000 for the course and up 600 rupees. Like totally the learner can get up to 14,500 rupees from the government if they are successfully passing the course and getting the certificate. So the content on the platform has digital fluency content. When we say it's just small bite-sized content, 30 minutes, 25 minutes, just to get you started on that particular technology. And then you have the fundamental skills, which gives you an overview of the technology, various aspects of a technology. So for cybersecurity, when you talk about the foundation skills, it could be like, what is identity and access management? What is network security? What is, how is a SOC handled? What is BCPDR? How is an incident response handled? So, and then what is the GRC, governance, risk and compliance? So it'll give you an overview of all these topics. Based on what you like, you can pursue further courses to say, suppose I as a commerce student is interested in GRC, then there are courses in governance, risk and compliance, which I can pursue. I'm probably very interested in networks. I can pursue courses on network administrator or network expert and then get myself certified there. I'm probably very good at, testing. So I can take up security application testing or pen testing and then play a good role there. So there are various job courses that are available, which people can take and get themselves certified. And these are also job-oriented courses. So you start your journey, you do your fluency, digital fluency, then you can take up some foundation courses, and then you can take up job-oriented courses, get certification as you go by. The platform has close to about 14 lakh active learners and about 77 lakh digital badges have been earned on the platform. And we have about 5.6 lakhs of people who have enrolled into various courses, and 36% of the demographic is women. So these are our key stakeholders. We have CDAC, NILIT, NSDC, AICTE, Skills India, and to have this platform running. I just want to quickly give you a 1 minute or a 2 minute. Do I have about 5 more minutes? Can I take about 5 more minutes? So I'm just going to quickly show you the platform just for you all to get a first-hand feel. So this is the Future Skills Prime platform, which you can go and check out. I'm connected. I'm connected through my phone.
No, the laptop is not connected to HDMI.
Okay. Do you want to?
You wanted to share the screen.
I just want to. We don't need this. I mean, you have to see the screen if they.
Yeah, it's not connected. I'm saying that.
You want to? How do you want to connect it?
The wire came up with loose.
Oh, this became loose, is it?
Yes.
Since when was the presentation not visible?
No, so after thank you slide.
Okay. But I can see it here.
Yeah, now it's done.
No, I can see it on my screen. Do I do a Windows P again?
No, it's done.
Sorry?
No, it's done now. Now you can use your laptop normally.
I can't see anything on my screen.
Your screen.
You just need to duplicate it. No? It's extended. No?
Yeah.
You just duplicate it.
No, you're not pressing Windows.
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect, perfect.
Action mode, action mode. Action mode.
No, he's taken the wire out.
Could. Illo 1 minute, sir. This one, huh? Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, I can see it. Perfect. Thank you. So futureskillsprime.in, all of you can log into it. It's available on your mobile also. There is a Future Skills Prime app which you can take and download it. And why is the screen?
Yes, that's the maximum. You can scroll down.
No, I want to see the sign in.
And there's website issue.
Futureskillsprime.in is the portal that you can go. I'll just take a minute.
Yeah.
Anybody can sign in. Anybody over the age of 16 years can sign on to the platform. It's a B2C platform. It's free. Sign up doesn't take any money. There are some courses on the platform which are free, which you can go and consume. There are courses which are paid, some of them which you need to pay. And then if they are paid, you need to pay and consume them. So since I've already have my login credentials, I just log in to the system. So this is how your homepage will look, and you have various contents that that I spoke about. Content across various emerging technology, AI, big data. There's content across professional skills, and there are these things called government incentive. So you take up these courses which have government incentive, then you complete it successfully, you get the money back. It's a DBT into your account. What is also very interesting, as most of you are young people, you would be interested to share what you're learning to your wider public. So whatever badges you earn as you learn here, so the badges are available and you can actually go and share these badges in the LinkedIn. So you can proudly say, today I did a course on AI. Tomorrow you can say I did a course on cybersecurity. There is also a channel specifically focused on generative AI because everybody is talking generative AI. So like this, you can see the badges and I can click share and I can share this badge on the LinkedIn portal. So you can have LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, all of those you can share that what you have successfully done. And at the homepage, since Gen AI is so important, everybody is talking Gen AI, we have dedicated an entire channel for all the Gen AI content, and you keep getting this content. You keep getting a content every 2 weeks, new content every 2 weeks. And the learning is also made very, very simple on the platform in terms of, as I said, bite-sized information, about 30 minutes of learning. At the end of learning, you also have a knowledge check. You clear the knowledge check, then you actually finish the knowledge check successfully, complete the pathway successfully, you get a badge. So let's just, if this comes up in about 30 seconds, we will show. So for Codeneers, as Jain University is having, you could actually become a content partner if you want to share your content, or you could be a user of the Prime platform and get all the content that you want on the Prime platform for your students. So for example, if I just click on groups here, is the internet very slow? So yeah, so just, yeah, good. So we could create a group for Jain University Let the group just come up in a minute. Like this, we could go create a group for Jain University. And if you look at it, we have a group for TCS. TCS specifically wants to learn something called digital engineering. So whatever you want on the platform, you could bring it into your group and make your learners easily access that instead of going all over the place. So that's a quick talk from my end to just share with you how important it is to be digitally skilled so that it's beneficial for you as an individual, it's beneficial for the country, and of course, and then the point that I want to share in cybersecurity, some of you all may be interested to do a typical corporate work. Some of you may be interested to do research. Some of you may be interested just to do, the governance, risk and compliance type of a work, which we said legal students can pick it up. So this various streams in cybersecurity, depending on your area of interest, you can build a fantastic career. So all the best to all of you, and thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Really very informative for all these students. Tony Robbins said, and I quote, "Setting goals is the first step in turning the invisible into the visible." One such personality who made it visible to the whole world is Dr. Balaji Rajendran. Dr. Balaji Rajendran is a highly accomplished professional with over 21 years of extensive experience in the research and development domain, specializing in networked information systems. As the Associate Director at CDAC Bangalore, he has played a pivotal role in spearheading several innovative initiatives and fostering communities of technical interest. Throughout his career, Balaji Ravindran has been at the forefront of technological advancements and has made significant contributions to various areas of expertise. To name a few: Center of Excellence in DNS Security, national level effort for public key infrastructure adoption, Indian Internet Research and Engineering Forum, Critical Information Infrastructure Protection, Indian Academic Networking Portal. Dr. Balaji Rajendran's diverse skill set and areas of specialization are a testament to his passion for technology-led innovation and user community empowerment. His unwavering dedication to the research and innovation has left an indelible mark on the technological landscape. His visionary leadership and commitment to technological advancement continue to shape the future of networked information systems and empower user communities in India and beyond. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, please put your hands together for Dr. Balaji.
Thank you. Thank you, sir, for the wonderful introduction. Actually, it's a very, as Madam has rightly said, it's more of adjectives. So I agree. Thank you, Jain University, for this opportunity and organizing this wonderful conclave. Of course, I am greatly indebted to Professor Iyengar, sir, whom I've been in touch since the beginning of this year for various CDAC programs. And for which, meaning I'm part of it thanks to him here. I'm also proud to be in the midst of great dignitaries, including Datta Guru sir and the DSCI members and other industry members. And of course, happy to see a large number of students gathered here. My session is going to be a little technical here. And of course, I will also highlight what the industry of cybersecurity is moving towards. It's moving towards cyber resilience. So what do we mean by that, and what are the implications, or what are the outlying areas in the landscape of cybersecurity? That is the essence of my brief presentation. The next slide, please. Okay, so this is what I'm going to cover about. Next slide. So when we say cybersecurity, we look at from the perspectives of perimeter security, edge security, and endpoint security. So when we say perimeter security, we mean the outer layer where you are getting connected to the other networks, especially the gateway systems and these things. And basically, edge security is basically the devices and the equipments which are there outside of your organization, but part of your thing. Say, for example, you are accessing your Google Cloud or even your Prime videos or any content which there is there in YouTube, or your own organization's information which is stored in Google Cloud or any other cloud-based systems or any other infrastructure which is part of your organization, that we call as edge security. Endpoint security is basically the endpoint devices that we are looking at it. So which is including your mobile devices to laptops and things like that. So when we look at cybersecurity, we look at these three layers or these three particular points where which you would like to address the vulnerabilities and things like that. Next slide. So this I will not get into it because this is more of what are the challenges are there in each and every specific area, and there are certain examples which is given to distinguish between all of these three domains. Next slide, please. So what we would like to take the approach from the CDAC perspective is basically we look at the NIST's cybersecurity framework, which has these components of identify, protect, detect, respond, and recover. Next slide. So, so basically when we say identify, we mean all the assets. Assets can also refer to the people, meaning people are assets, because today social engineering attacks. How many of you heard about social engineering attacks? Okay, that's really, really wonderful. I was expecting very few hands to go up. So can you explain me what is that? Can you just give me an example of, at least one of you can please stand up and explain me how is a social engineering attack can be carried out? So many hands went up. Anyone? Okay, it's basically a tricking, it's tricking the person to make, meaning trying to get the confidence of that particular person and trying to, throwing him some insider information and trying to capture his interest of the particular person in the organization, and knowing the weakness of the particular person, and then trying to trap him or trap the information which is there in that particular organization. So that is basically, and actually social engineering is not a single step of attack. There are a number of ways in which can be done, including emails to malware to everything, including tapping your phone to everything is possible. So it's a basically it's a broad-based attack. And generally, when I mean attack these days, actually we think of as a small, meaning a single person who is actually sitting here and trying to carry out an attack. Actually, it is not the case. When we look at attack, basically it can be a very big a team sponsored or a group sponsored, or even kind of a state sponsored also can be kind of considered as an attack. So this is one of the way identifying your people, devices, and basically data, that is, which is your assets. So this we need to look at it. Then the second thing is about protection. Protection is basically how do you look at establishing the layers of defense, multiple layers of defense. I have a slide also, how you can visualize the layers of defense at the end. So then we also not, just keep the previous slide. So then we also have the detection, which is requires continuous monitoring. You have to keep on monitoring not only your network, but also what's happening out in the world. What are the vulnerabilities which is being exploited currently, or anything which is actually relevant to your system? You need to look at that. Then responding. Responding is not only if a cybersecurity incident has happened, responding to that, but also a proactive responsiveness is required, like patching up a new system or trying to establish multiple layers of redundant servers or redundant applications and things like that. And then recovery. Suppose if an incident has happened, how do you recover fast? That is basically through business continuity and disaster recovery mechanism should be in place. So this is the framework in which we operate, and we have solutions at each of this level. So that I will come to that at the last slide. Next slide, please. So basically, we also look at there is something called a triad called confidentiality, integrity, and availability. That is basically refers to the information security, CIA. So what do you mean by confidentiality is, let me just very simply when you put it out. when in a very crude form, let us say that two people are communicating, then a third party or entity should not be able to figure out what these two people are communicating with. So that is basically called as confidentiality. Integrity is when two people are communicating, no entity should be able to change the information. Suppose let us say that I am saying that please pay me 1,000 rupees. Somebody should not make it as 1 rupee or maybe 1 million rupee, whatever it is. So that integrity is what? The integrity of the data is critical. Availability. So the rightful owner of a particular resource or asset should be able to access it at any given point of time. So that is that it should be made available to him on demand basis. So that is called availability. So this is a CIA triad, which has been advocated throughout multiple groups. So we have specific solutions, especially we focus on not only on CIA, we actually also have something called, we have a several, within ourselves, we have a very interesting acronym called PAIN, PAIN. So what does PAIN stands for is, P stands for actually the confidentiality or privacy. And then A stands for authenticity. How do you authenticate a person? That is basically, we are more interested in technology of identification through PKI, public key infrastructure, which is actually today in very prominent terms of the Indian industry. It's called as, it's actually a part of the DPI, digital public infrastructure. So that is PA, I for integrity, N for non-repudiation. Non-repudiation is a very tricky thing. That is, let me again tell you something. So let us say that I say that please send me 1,000 rupees, I'll give you back 2,000 rupees. So you did the transfer to me. And then tomorrow I say that I never said to you. Somebody has cheated on my name or using my name. So something, basically what I mean is, though I might have told you, basically I will be able to refute whatever I have done. So if you are not non-repudiation, that is called repudiation. If I'm not able to refute whatever I have done, then it becomes actually non-repudiation. So in information systems, we need to ensure all of these four properties are in place. That is privacy or confidentiality, authenticity, integrity, and non-repudiation. And non-repudiation is a little tricky thing. It is not only requires technology, but also requires support in the form of policies and laws from the government. So we at CDAC Bangalore actually have solutions crisscrossing and cutting across all these particular areas of confidentiality, integrity, and availability, as well as non-repudiation, and also aligning to the NIST's framework. Next slide, please. So from the networking perspective, of course, several years back, we used to look at the cybersecurity problem only from a pure networking perspective. So when you look at the problem from a networking perspective, we go layer by layer. So what are the kind of attacks that are possible in each layer and try to tackle them. But as you see that, see the physical layer attacks are very difficult. Why I say physical layer attacks are difficult is, today, you get the internet connection through the undersea cables, which are landing primarily in Mumbai. Of course, there are some cables landing in Trivandrum, Tuticorin, and Chennai also. But the prime, the huge bandwidth, terabytes bandwidth or cables are landing in Mumbai. So if somebody has to cut it, actually that is what is kind of an attack which we can expect. So that kind of attack is actually a very difficult thing, unless it must be a very state-sponsored thing which has to be done. So it's a very difficult thing. So next part is a data link attack, link layer attacks and network layer attacks. As you go up, the things become slightly easier for attacking. But as you go up and up, the application layer attack, the social engineering attack, actually this is quite, including ransomware, are all part of this kind of attack. So this is where currently the focus is. People actually very rarely these days go to the level of network layer attack, because these are things which are already known and there are solutions which all keep coming up. So application layer attacks are the ones which you need to be protected. Next slide. So I'll just take a very quick jump to ML, that is machine learning, because everyone is trying to leverage machine learning for everything. So machine learning here, we try to leverage for cybersecurity. But before that, I just want to tell you that it's good at predictions and classifications, groupings and categorization. So these are the things ML is good at it. Next slide, please. So when you apply ML for cybersecurity, it's can be used for detecting anomalies. That is, if there is any behavioral anomaly in the system, suppose if you are seeing a spike in a traffic, or if you're seeing nothing in the happening in the network or something like that in a, which has to be a busy period. So that actually creates an anomaly which is actually happening. Predictive analytics, basically, you identify the patterns based on this thing, or identify anomalous patterns and predict cybersecurity events. Of course, this requires a lot of threat intelligence information which should be available with you, and also detecting threats, detecting suspicious activities, and correlating that information with multiple data that you have been receiving across devices. And finally, vulnerability management. So these are the areas in which ML can be leveraged for cybersecurity. Next slide. But of course, there are a lot of challenges also. As we all know that machine learning is inherently probabilistic. What does that mean is, it is nothing is for sure, meaning it is not 100%. No ML system can be 100% right. So that is basically a probability system. And there is a possibility of false positive, false negative, true positive, and a true negative also. And so it does not mean that if something is, everything is true positive, that is your system is 100% accurate. That means really there is something wrong with the system or something. So you may have to do a deeper exploration of that system. So, but of course, when your system, ML system actually is right most of the time, its accuracy is pretty good, then probably we can be good at it. So these are the possible actions. These are the possibilities that can be done. And for really having a very sound and strong machine learning systems for cybersecurity, what we are looking, I mean, the challenges that we as an organization or a entity is facing is the data sets. Data sets, we really need rich data sets, real data sets, which is live and data sets, and large data sets are required. And see, cybersecurity is always a moving target. Actually, it was told in the beginning that cybersecurity is going to be there for ever, because the growth also is going to be there. So Madam was mentioning that. So there is going to be a continuous learning, because since it's a moving target, the learning has to be done in a continuous basis, which means that the ML model which you have evolved actually has to be kept on, be updated. So of course, you need to look at models like online learning models or a transfer learning model to get into this thing. And really speaking, from the AI perspective, as well as from the cybersecurity perspective, I'm not happy with the generative models. Meaning generative models may not be that much helpful to whatever that is there. It can probably answer you to help you or things like that, but obviously not on the cybersecurity front as of now. And but there is a challenge with the continuous learning models also, especially when related to processing and memory requirements, because you are actually working at a device. Let us say if you add even a small piece of code to the to your edge device, let us say a gateway device, or in your network entry point, gateway entry point, it's actually going to slow down the speed in which you are accessing the internet. It's actually going to make your internet experience sluggish. So that is going to affect you or impact you. So this is one of the things that we need to, very big challenge. We cannot meaning derail the performance, or we cannot look at degrading our performance at the same time of increasing the capabilities of computing and memory. Next slide, please. So whatever that has been said, cybersecurity incidents are always going to happen, and what we need to move towards is cyber resilience. And what do we mean by cyber resilience is always you try to keep the data secure, detect and defend against the cyber attacks, and deliver the business objectives of your organization. Next slide. So when we say that vulnerabilities are persistent, threats are always going to be there, and attacks can happen anytime, anywhere. So this is a major thing. So this acceptance has to be there within us to move towards cyber resilience. Next slide. So leveraging the machine learning thing for cyber resilience, you can add multiple layers of defense and continuous improvement of security posture. That is proactively dealing with vulnerabilities and things like that, patching the systems, adding multiple layers, adding redundant systems, etc. Next slide. So as I said, this is analogy of a multi-layer protection system. So generally this can be thought of, the middle one as actually can be thought of as a fort, which is surrounded by generally the waterways. The waterways, inside the water, actually there can be dreaded animals like crocodiles and other animals, whatever that is there, to protect you against it. So you might have to do something, or you can try to deliver honey nets also outside, or honey pots also can be deployed. And by the by, have you heard of the word honey pot, honey net? What is that? One person rose the hand, please, madam. Very good. Very good. Wonderful answer. Yeah, in the node which has been set up for him, actually it is to trap the attackers. You set up a weak system so that he can actually penetrate into that. And we try to, as a security engineer, try to analyze what's actually doing. So something which also can be thought about it. So that's one of the analogy here. Next slide, please. Next slide. So before I end, I just like to state that apart from machine learning thing, there is a quantum threat to cyber security. Basically, why? Because today, most of our systems, whenever you are accessing a banking application or a financial payment application, you all use something like HTTPS. Am I right? In the browser, you type HTTPS. So actually, HTTPS uses some algorithm called as, one of the algorithm is called as RSA. Initial key exchanges will happen using that algorithm. So that algorithm becomes vulnerable to a quantum attack. So people are actually, meaning when the quantum systems are getting fully realized, this is actually going to happen. So right now, people are working towards post-quantum cryptography. That is, they are actually classical systems. You don't need to have cryogenic facilities, or when I say cryogenic, actually, I mean temperatures below whatever sub minus 200 or whatever Kelvin. But actually, we are looking at systems simply which will work on our traditional systems, post-quantum crypto solutions that can work on classical systems and cannot still be broken by quantum systems. Actually, so these are also certain things which we at CDAC Bangalore are working on, including post-quantum crypto-based lattice algorithms and things like that, which have been exploring and we have been working on. So immediately the world right now is migrating towards post-quantum crypto systems. Later point of time, we can actually see both quantum systems as well as the traditional systems working hand in hand together, the traditional systems and the quantum systems. So both is possible. And next slide, please. So cybersecurity and resilience, this is more of about how we approach cyber resiliency, that is to tolerate the attacks. Tolerate in the sense you try to continue to survive. So that is the thing. And today agile is a buzzword. So here also cyber resilience means actually agile. That is, you try to rely on your capability to be agile. So key takeaways from this particular thing, just fully, yeah. So of course, everyone knows that cybersecurity can't be taken for granted. There are social engineering attacks which are actually taken as easy targets, and cyber resilience is the key, and accepting the attacks and being prepared. And ML can significantly improve the cybersecurity solutions and cybersecurity posture, but there are challenges also everywhere, learning methods, challenge of data sets, etc. So with that, I'll just like to some thoughts for pondering yourself, whether can AI or ML address or weaken the cybersecurity? Both ways is it possible? Can it weaken your cybersecurity? This thing is a question. And if a quantum system comes, can you leverage it for strengthening your traditional security systems? Is one of the questions that I would like to leave it for. So with that, I like to conclude my talk. Next slide, please. So these are some, I just take a few moments for telling about our cybersecurity solutions. So we work on research and development. That is basically a number of products and solutions which we have built up. And also we provide a number of cybersecurity services also, including from training to consultancy to cloud hosting to everything. So that is also available. Next slide. So these are some of the things. Apart from that, we are very academically oriented. and of course, oriented towards industry also, I can say that we are between the academia and the industry. So we also try to make a interconnect between both of them. And we have a run of many number of conferences also on, especially focusing on internet research and engineering, public key infrastructure, and things like that. Some of these things are available in our YouTube channels, which you can look at it, or the Twitter feeds or the Facebook, or we have a dedicated website also. These websites have a number of tools which you can explore and practice them for any of these things. Meaning detailed concepts are available, concept-based tools are available for DNS and PKI. So one of the conferences, I'll just take one more minute, was basically on internet research and engineering, which CDAC Bangalore has been organizing. And we were privileged to have Professor Iyengar sir as the keynote speaker there in the conference, but unfortunately he had to go to Poland for receiving a honorary doctorate degree. So he could not, but despite that, he actually made an online presence. So I could not, we actually could not hand over the memento to him. So I kindly request you, sir, to please accept that memento from him. I will use this forum to give this particular memento to him.
I gave in Poland. Thank you very much. A talk, I had accepted to give a keynote talk for CDAC, and it was unfortunate the time I had to be in Poland to receive an honorary doctorate from a very prestigious place. So I said I will still do it, and I did it. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks for this wonderful opportunity. Thanks.
Thank you so much, sir. Well, in this digital age, the global cyberspace has become the backbone of modern civilization, connecting billions of individuals and organizations worldwide. With this interconnectedness comes an increased need of robust cybersecurity strategies and effective implementations to safeguard our virtual realm. As we embark on the insightful discussion, we have the privilege of hearing from a panel of distinguished experts, each possessing a wealth of experience and knowledge in the field of cybersecurity. They are trailblazers who have been at the forefront of devising innovative solutions to combat emerging cyber threats and challenges. Let me quickly welcome the panelists for the discussion onto the dais. But the first person whom I have the honor and pleasure to welcome is the moderator of the event, Dr. S.S. Iyengar, sir. Well, the applause needs to be much more because the panelists are much more special over here. May I request Mr. Souvik Das, Director, Ernst & Young, Cyber Security Leader, to come on the dais. Mr. Pawan Kumar, Director, Cloud Solution MSP Technologies, to come up on the dais, please. Well, the applaud can continue, please. The third person is Mr. Amit Raj Singh, Director, Cyber Security and Privacy Advisory, PwC. The next person to come on the dais is Mr. Gagan Jain B. Satish, CTO in Cyber Security. The next person is Pons Mudivai Arun, Head of Security Business, NetScaler. Shailaja Wadlamudi, Vice President, Cyber Security. Please come onto this dais, please. She has not come. Okay, sorry. Mr. Shekhar Rao, CEO and inventor, A-Shield Technologies Private Limited. And finally, Mr. Vijay Kumar Busetti, Regional Director, Cyberbit. This looks so wonderful. Dr. Iyengar, the entire show is now yours.
Okay, thank you very much. I hope everybody can hear at the back. We already have heard a lot of very interesting ideas on cybersecurity, and based on all the things we have heard so far, there's absolutely no exact solution. In computer science, what we call as, a polynomial solution to a complex problem. All that we are trying to do in many of these applications is basically come up with some good heuristics to minimize the attack. And the search goes on. I mean, I think as Priya Madhavan was telling, these hackers are very intelligent. I mean, they're a lot more intelligent than what we really think. And they don't have too many attributes to talk about it, but they only have one focus, is to see how we can break the system. In a way, it is good, but in a way, it's also bad, because it can certainly break the entire system. So one example I'll give you, just about a couple of months back in Florida, we never had gasoline for our cars, and how the country works, because there was a hacking on a system right somewhere in New Jersey, from, I think it is from Russia, they say, we don't know exactly, but down the road, the whole system got collapsed. And these are the classic examples, Dr. Madhavan and other people, Balaji, were talking about how complex the problem is. And our Sriram also said, there are a lot of interesting things to solve in a practical way. So we have, and I'm very privileged to have all of these distinguished people today here. And of course, I think I already have given them some questions of what they can focus on and the topics. So what I would do is, starting from the right, we will go from one by one. And of course, the time factor is also there. We can spend the whole day discussing on many problems. So I would expect each of the panelists here to talk about the problem, what they're talking about, in not more than 5 minutes. And of course, what is very more important for us is how, for example, we can impact on the students to think of perhaps a solution for a problem, what they're thinking from their own company perspective. So each one of them will sort of take 5 minutes to explain what the company is doing. We would want also their company to talk about it, and then their problems. And there are some 10 topics I think I've sent to all of you. So pick one that you think is most important. There is one problem I'm also thinking, but perhaps that they will talk at the end. And then we will have some questions. We already have some questions from the students and some audience I've already collected, but we will, we need to have a microphone to each one of them. So somebody should assist me. So when there is a question from any student, I think everybody should hear what they're talking. So let's start from you and introduce, and I think, make yourself comfortable, and then maybe you can go there.
So please, you all can be seated, please.
Yeah, seated. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's sit down there, and then we'll sort of discuss that. And let's move. There should be a speaker at that other end. Prasad. Speaker. Microphone. Okay, go, please.
Yeah, hi. Good afternoon, everyone. So the main thing which I am dealing with today in my role as of now is, I heard somebody saying
which company you come from?
Yeah, so okay, so I'm from PwC. So primarily I take care of customer engagements around SOC, I would say. And I heard somebody saying that you guys want to set up a SOC or something like that. That's what I could hear in the earlier conversation. So that's what I do day in, day out. So when I say SOC means Security Operations Center. So ideally, when you hear all the panelists, there are so many jargons and so many technologies available. Should I continue or?
Yeah, please continue.
So I want, so basically it's all to students. So basically that's where I'm trying to come up. So when you get into cyber security, there are so many things, and every technology will address some problem. But what happens as an organization, when you go to any entity today, any large entity, for every layer, there will be one solution. And then each solution, by end of it, as the size of organization grows, the number of solution, number of technology, number of vendor, it's like the bigger house you have, the more kind of vendor you will engage with, more kind of technology you will engage with. But what happens that with so many different technologies available, now how do you get a centralized view of the entire setup, what's happening in environment? And if something goes wrong, let's say you have put a firewall. If something goes wrong, how do you detect it quickly? How do you take a preventive action around it? And that preventive action, if can trigger some kind of an automated manner, or will it be a manual activity? Will it reach to, let's say you have IT, you have OT, different environments are there in the typical industry. Go for manufacturing, you will have more factories. There will be some devices more related to that. So how do you cater to every environment of yours, be it application, be it network, be it data center, be it your IT, be it your OT, have a common monitoring framework, get that in a single place, do quick analysis of that and take up relevant actions based on that. That's day in, day out problem which I solve for my customers as a part of my PwC role. And that's what I've been doing for last 10, 15 years in different organizations and the roles what I had. Now, from the student point of view, now, like many of you are standing and answering some of the basic questions. Fundamentally, the idea to think, I'm sure you are studying those things and you're able to tell like social engineering, all those attacks. So idea is that there is an analytical mind required for this kind of job. So when you get into that, when something is happening, how do you see all the data information? How do you analyze it and able to make some decision and communicate to relevant stakeholder? That is another big area of work, and that is also associated with SOC analyst kind of a role, which one of the job role I saw in our future skill template as well. So invariably, from student point of view, when you have different technology solution, how do you bring everything together at one place, see, take an idea and put that into action? That's a role probably you can do as a part of SOC team and take it up. And probably I'll hand it over due to time, and anything else comes up, I'll add to that.
So I forgot to introduce Dr. Shika Upadhyaya. Please come here. We need a chair also for her. And so let's introduce Dr. Shika. She's also an expensive, a real extensive experience in forensic analysis. So that would be a good topic. Prasad, can we get a chair here for Shika? Okay. Okay, I think we have it. Okay. Okay, so next, yeah, please go.
Thank you, Mrs. Iyengar, sir, and the panelists, the warm and the honorable and the main chief guest who have been invited for this excellence program. This is very enlightening and delighted to be the part of this journey. Especially request my special gratitude to all of you in this China University for today. My name is Pavan Kumar. Basically started my journey as a student and then took it up my career with IT engineer and then become lead professional and then become manager and then started growing with a various domain, right? How many of you have been interested to take a high paycheck when you get a salary from the audience and the students especially? How many? What is your basic salary paycheck that you want to get? What is that per month? You want 1 lakh, 2 lakh, 3 lakh? Yeah, 5 lakh. Yeah. Is it make sense to tell that at least we withdraw a decent amount of check that really encourage to take the career domain, right? It's very important. That's why I'm telling you that I just want to take off your attention. That's why I'm the paycheck. So industry is actually looking for such talents who is extremely powerful, understanding the concepts of cybersecurity, the basic elements, the career growth, especially in terms of understanding the risk. The potential risk can be identified earlier in stage. All that are industry's main focus now. Before I talk it to that, I'm basically background of an ex-Flipstar, ex-Flipkart employee and ex-PU and ex-TCS. In my role, I've been taking a normal paycheck, but in 2012, I had an opportunity to crack one of the PCI DSS certifications, and it was relatively known by everyone. Mostly, it will be impacting to the your online payment transactions during that time. So we had really come up with a new solutions, putting an HSM kind of solutions So as I was started my journey, but later to engaging in a cybersecurity platform and getting into the multi-domain expert, my paycheck has been started getting better, right? That's all. That's all a basic thing. But in our current industries, we are facing a lot of that kind of challenges, and many of the students have already started working with some of the organizations along with their co-studying times, and they are looking forward for achieving the internship programs, largely into the internship programs, to understand how the industry is working, what are the paths and the opportunities that they can catch brilliantly on cybersecurity space. There is enormous focus, and people have started asking large amount of data, how what are the ways that which domain is important. Shall I go to the R&D part? Shall I take up an the corporate job, or shall I take up an consumption part of that and resell it to products to the customers, right? So there are various aspects here. So I would like to tell you that when you are looking an opportunity, especially in the cybersecurity domain, you need to be understanding most of this domain, started working and get the specialization in one of the domain. Having that expertises will start taking you and exposed to the next future career opportunities. And those, you will start understanding our industry standards, the terminologies that we spoke today, and most of the delegates which we have enlightened us with a lot of information that's going to connect you to the part of the later journey. So this is very important to be as a student, that we need to take it up on the journey. With a small note, I want to hand over my mic to the next delegate. Thank you very much. In my industry, it is going to be a learning industry as the same like what corporate is. We are engaging with large base of customers. We are helping them to cater the solutions. That's what we are doing today. But as the future generations, we are going to do much more. We are looking the more complex problem solutions that needs to be taken in that engagement. We have started our journey. So I'm sure a lot of you have been invested, and my delegates along with my panel discussions are also experts in that and will guide you through that. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Shovik Das. I work for EY, Ernst & Young. I am the director for the cybersecurity practices based in Bangalore. And a bit about what we do at EY. So definitely we cut across all industry verticals. I am more aligned with financial services, call it banks, non-banking financial institutes, even the fintechs to some extent. Now, cybersecurity for us is common across all the verticals that we go across. We really do not differentiate. Business differentiates it. One, because of course, accounting, where does this money go, how the verticals are formed. But one important aspect is the domain specialization. So if I am part of, say, the banking, I need to know what I has, say, a set of standards, circulars, guidelines, which tells all the banks that, hey, you need to comply with this, because RBI will come and audit them and find deficiencies and report it back to them. Because we, and if I switch my role to a person who uses the ATM card and withdraws money, or I put my paycheck comes into a bank, I need to be assured that that money is safe there. So these are the regulators. And he talked about PCI DSS, so that being a payment regulator, we have numerous regulators. Now, what differentiates cybersecurity across these verticals is the industry standards on how we adapt to it. But when it comes to the controls or the tools that we use, I do not find any difference across. So my advice to all of you, when I started my career way back in 2001, of course, cybersecurity was not known as cybersecurity. Of course, we had some elements of it. Firewalls were in a nascent stage. 2003, when I joined McAfee, which was called Network Associates then, I knew only of antivirus as the solution, but they had 32 products to start with. And so I was part of the team which I started in Bangalore again. That is where I came to know a lot about these products and huge set of products. We did not have the kind of all the initiatives that were spoken by DSCI or NASCOM and all the platforms, which is available for you today. So I would strongly suggest, like, we have gone through a struggle period where we had to learn, breaking the box. We just had, he talked about the SOC, right? So I was setting it up for one of the, not one, it is the largest electronic retail chain in North America. When we set up the SOC, honestly, we did not know how does each element of a SOC work. And to my surprise, in 2008 or 9, when I was based out of Vancouver, Canada for this retail chain, when I was analyzing the logs, I came to find that they have a credit card data to it. Now, this kind of defeat, or this is a black spot when it comes to a PCI audit, and they were going for the first PCI audit, which means like we really did not know how to set up systems. It was very nascent, and we learned the real hard way. And we did not have AI ML. Of course, AI ML was always there, but what we had to do is possibly pick up a regex, try to find out, this entire storage, where is this stored out, extract it out, log these boxes in a sealed chamber, put in new boxes, and tell the PCI auditor saying, hey, you know what, this has happened. We acknowledge it, and we have put the new boxes in. So please take help of all these platforms which have been showcased today. I think these are great platforms. Priya ma'am talked about cloud security. Couple of years back, everyone was, not couple, 3-4 years back, everyone started talking about cloud security. Honestly, I did not know anything about cloud security. I knew about cloud, people were still talking. So how did I learn? Possibly, all of you would know by now, Azure gives a free credit, $200. You use any email ID, create it for 2 months, start, populating your, all your databases, your servers. You try, taking the services which are free. Of course, some are paid, so be careful with your credit card. Otherwise, it will charge you, and shut it down before in a couple of hours. Just shut it down. Once you are done with it, next morning again, even if it does not charge, still shut it down. And 2 months over, possibly you use another email ID to create another one and a new credit card, right? So I took 4 to 6 months to learn it, but I learned the hard way. Now we see beautiful courses, all curated, all shown, what are the services, what do you need to do? In a sense, I want to conclude this thought saying there are a lot of avenues for you to learn today. Maybe it looks like a session or a discussion, but if you can carry back the essence of what are the different platforms, tools, there are a lot of free tools available. Make use of it, learn it. And of course, before I hand it over, I want to ignite some thoughts in everyone's mind. We talk about, in every organization, we talk about standards, tools, and technologies. And we talked about firewalls in the last session. We talked about all the different tools of firewalls and endpoint securities. We talked a bit about GRCs. So these are standard domains, IAM. These are all standard domains. You go to any organization, you will find it. Start reading a bit more outside it as well. Some of these are still many organizations from the typical and traditional service or product companies might have gone who are specializing that, but the other service companies or consulting organizations are still venturing into it. An example would be, say, the automotive security, which is, there are a lot of articles available. I think Sir talked about a plane getting hijacked, the possibility of plane being hijacked by taking control. So just to give analogy, Dreamliner 787 has 14 million lines of code. uh, uh, a super luxury car, take it any brand, would have close to 80 to 100 million lines of code, which is like at least 5 to 6 times. Why? Because these were developed in a way, including the most known Tesla ones, which were included in a very modularized fashion. No car manufacturer today produces all the codes themselves. They have huge number of vendors. They all outsource pieces of it, and a car is controlled by something which is called an ECU. Now there are, say, 70 to 100 ECUs. Like ECUs can be an anti-braking system gets ejected when there's an impact. So that's an ECU at work. Your braking systems, everything is a ECU control. Now, if someone can hack, what happens? Your car can crash or things can happen.
We'll come to that. There are several questions. Yeah, you want to...
Okay. So with that, I conclude my thoughts and urge you to read and study a lot. Thanks.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. Thanks, Sriram sir, for giving this opportunity to spend here. Thank you, Iyengar sir, for beautifully organizing this. My name is Vijay. I work for Cyberbit. I work with you all. Most of the panelists here, I work with PwC, UI, CDAC, most of the organizations. The concept here, which we are trying to spend time now, is what is a challenge the industry is going through, right? So, like other panelists were saying, 17 or 18 years back, I came to Bangalore and I want to do a job. And the first job or the first activity when I went and asked my boss, what should I do here? So there are a lot of challenges in the industry. Go and solve it. That's your job. So my role was to sell something on the servers and backup solution. There was a textile industry who wants to implement SAP, and they wanted me to suggest what is the right servers they want to have and right backup system they want to have. From then till now, I have seen so many technologies evolved in the industry. There are so many technologies on the cybersecurity, starting from antivirus. We have the most sophisticated technologies, perimeter, endpoint, information, data. There's so much of protection technologies which have come up. The biggest challenge is the resources. I think Priya Madhavan was talking about this issue. The gap of demand and supply. The market needs a lot of resources. All the technologies needs to be managed by the human resource. So today, you all come out of the college, maybe after 10 years or 15 years, you should be solving one of the challenges of the organization. You should be one to provide a solution to one of the cybersecurity challenge. So the challenge is with you. So we also are, as an industry experts, I wouldn't say experts, we are also driving one of the activities here in the organizations. I feel strongly that I have encountered this in many organizations which I've worked with in the past. I worked with F5, Symantec, WebSense before I joined Cyberbit. The biggest challenge in the industry, which I want to focus, is the human resource, build human resource, skilling, capability. So that's my opinion.
Okay, so I think based on some of these things I've heard, I have two major questions. I would like this as a challenge for each of you and also perhaps people sitting in the audience also. So we worked on a project for DARPA agencies in the United States with several universities. So the major challenge is, there is a lot of emphasis on unmanned automobiles and things like that. So the DARPA challenge was basically a challenge of how to minimize, like in many of these unmanned vehicles, somebody who knows, there's a lot of code that has been written to be secured. By somehow, I may be able to hack the code, then I will be able to take control of the vehicle. So what kind of thoughts that you can have? You can certainly say that, we have done a lot of work in terms of minimizing, somebody taking control, or even while you are driving, there are a lot of challenges. Like if I know, I'm able to control your driving, where to go and where not to go. So that is one problem. And then there is another major problem in United States Department of Science and Technology. They are doing, like Dreamliner, many of these planes, when you see, it's fully automated. I mean, you perhaps may not know, I've seen some of it. It's completely controlled by many of the sensing devices they have. I mean, so that, what do I mean by, in the sense, if you translate that in the form of a program that is a, 15 million lines of code to operate from one place to the other, it also creates a lot of data. You remember, if there is a flight from here to Hyderabad, the amount of data that is being generated is also humongous. So the question is, there is always prone for cyber attacks on many of these. So how do we sort of thinking about it? Then the third question perhaps is, all of these L and ML techniques, we are talking about it. Has it really helped, or is still a long way to go? There are some questions that have been asked like that. So we'll be able to come and answer perhaps after we hear from our other people from industries. So keep thinking about it. And if there are other questions, we can also, and Shika Upadhyay can facilitate many of these questions also. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Gagan Jain. So I'm a CEO and CTO for a company called CyberSafe. So I started this company back in 2016, and we've been having a lot of clients like law enforcement agencies and corporate companies. So for the law enforcement agencies, we basically do incident management, right? So forensic investigations, digital investigations, and OSAINT, how to track people online. We help, we also train people on how to trace criminals, cyber criminals, using various other techniques, which law enforcement people doesn't know as of now, right? So apart from that, we also help various corporate companies securing their applications, do SOC audits, we do VAPTs and other things like that. So my thing, my point of view as of now is I myself have a very scarcity of people in my company for cybersecurity, right? So we need people who are skilled enough to find a way through to do things. Like for example, for a law enforcement agency, there's a lot of challenge that comes up. So people use VPNs, people use Tor networks, people use dark web, people use other ways of communications to handle their secrets. How do we trace them? Because they're not the only person who are doing a lot of bad things. So we need to catch those bad people as well, right? So in order to do that, we need to be way ahead of them in order to track those steps which they took. So there are some ways that we have. For example, now as how many of you know about this Bitcoin case that happened in Karnataka, Shiki? Right, so we were the people who handled that case. So what happens in that case is, now the thing is, we can't just tell people that just tell the code that this was what happened, because code doesn't understand, or Indian law doesn't understand as of now how the digital footprint works and how do we carry those digital footprints, right? So in order to prove that this is a person who did it, we have to have a lot of documentation. We have to have a lot of supporting things that are supported by various other agencies as well. So now the thing is, how do we overcome this critical scarcity of talents? So we train people, right? So as in there are, as Saurabh told, back in 2010-11, there was no like media or YouTube videos or Udemy or anything like that to help out to how to investigate or how to learn things on your own. Now there's a lot of things and a lot of resources that you can take out. Just every day, just take some time to go through all these materials and build your own skill set. Then you concentrate on what area of cybersecurity you want to depend on, right? So in cybersecurity, it's a very vast area. You have identity, you have privacy. So let's talk about privacy. So for example, just by using your email address, I can tell your house address, where do you live, what is your dog's name, mom's name, like everything. Everything is on social media right now, right? So half of the things I can see that using an open source intelligence. And other things are like, there are certain websites that we use like Big Basket, Dunzo, like other things, right? So they also get hacked. So those databases will be used by these cyber criminals to track your down. So there is something called as doxing, right? So this is just for fun. People come online and they take out all your information and put it on some websites like this. This kind of things make you vulnerable to different kind of cyber attacks, right? So this is personal attacks. So there are some ways to protect all these things. Use two-factor authentications, change your passwords every day. So these are some things which comes around normal to everybody. Doesn't apply for a corporate company, it applies for everybody, right? So these are my thoughts as of now. So let's come back again. Thanks.
Yeah. Good, thank you. Very good point. I just thought about one other thing that is also a very serious consequence in the context of cybersecurity. See, when you travel from one place to the other, I'm not very sure, when you have the ticket stub, you better be careful on that, because if somebody who is a hacker gets access to your ticket, normally when once you're validated, you fly and then you throw it, but it's not a safe thing, because with that ticket stub, he will be able to find every information with your last name. And that's a very serious problem in United States, because sometimes, when we travel, we are a little bit careless. Oh, after our journey, when we reach Miami, I'll just say I'll throw it. But if some hacker, he'll be able to figure out profile completely where you are and what you do. So there is a paper we have written how to minimize it. So that's also an important problem in the context of cybersecurity.
Hello, everyone. Yeah. So very good thoughts and a lot of interesting insights. I hope you're able to make the most of it. See, the thing is, in cybersecurity, once again emphasize, the biggest problem is that cybersecurity by design is not being done. Cybersecurity by design, privacy by design needs to be done. That is the reason why it leads to fragmentation and everywhere, like many of the problems mentioned here. They are taken off. Those are addressed if you have to do from ground up design every part of it. So what frequently happens is we've seen in many places architectures. For example, I saw one architecture being given. We reviewed it and found that no, go back and do introduce security into it and come back with a secure architecture. The design looks totally different. It looks completely different. So which means that you have to add that aspect in your entire life, whether it is software engineering or your entire architecture ground up of security. So that is one thing. It is not merely a technical problem alone. That is the biggest mistake there. The security is much bigger than technical problem. Okay, so that is there. So again, coming to the challenges, list of challenges, the biggest challenges that we have are that technologies are racing ahead, which means that you have waves after waves of technologies coming in, be it AI, IoT, drones, automation, and so on. Okay, 5G and all, which are coming in, all the emerging technologies. That is one thing that struggle to keep pace with, because every technology brings in a whole host of security issues if they are not addressed. The second part of the whole, the other side is legislations lag behind. That means privacy legislation lags behind the technology and everything. So right now you may have a lot of apps on your phones which are siphoning out your data, okay, happily, and you can't do anything about it because you ticked on that little thing which says that I can share my data with all partners and affiliates. So once it is inside, it can siphon off practically everything. It knows everything about you. And it is being sent to 40, 50 different websites around the world, many of it in China, Singapore, and all. So that is why there is large scale hacking. So that is another thing. So fragmentation is the biggest thing. That means there are point solutions. People do not know how to integrate it. So your architecture stuff that you build has to cater to not only the current one, but also the future ones. And in many cases, the past ones also. By that I meant the legacy systems. So that's the other biggest challenge, having lots of legacy systems which are there. So for example, let's say there are video cameras installed everywhere. Okay, how are you going to upgrade and patch it? It's not going to be that easy. Okay, they are vulnerable. So you need to find solutions which take into account all the things of legacy systems. And the other one, I know the list can be pretty long, but the other important thing is skilling, which is the biggest, elephant in the room. Not enough skilled people. So there is heavy investment in automation and in training, but I'd rather urge that the training be in the right areas, appropriate areas. Otherwise, you're training people in areas that are going to get automated. So tomorrow that would be saying that Where is your security team? That is the box sitting in the corner. What did you train all these hundreds of people for then? So you've got to be very, very careful about what you're training people on and doing. Okay, as I mentioned, hyper automation is one of the things mentioned on Gartner's hype cycle for cybersecurity. Cybersecurity is one of them. Hyper automation in cybersecurity is one of them. So many of the people who are quote unquote consulting, training, services and all this, people need to be very careful because automation could come really fast. So that is the other area with which we are really grappling with. And there's a large digital divide. People want the benefits of technology without putting the safeguards in place. That is the biggest things. Awareness training are very important. With that, I'll stop here. Thank you.
Yeah, good introduction. Just it was a good one. Just to understand your perspective, right? If you take a personal life or in a corporate life, one of the expenses that everyone hate to do you know what? One of the expenses we hate to do when we pick up even a 1 rupee from our packet to expend on a particular stuff, which we hate to do, but we are all forced to do, it's nothing but cybersecurity. Do you know why we are all doing? Be it in a small shop to a large enterprise, billion-dollar enterprise, or in your personal life, that's all for securing something. Why we are securing? It's all about you have some uncertainties, you have some concerns, you want to reduce that uncertainties. None of the vendors can give you assurance that you can safeguard yourself, but they can reduce uncertainties. Okay, you are trying to secure what from whom? You're trying to secure you from other bad guys. If you look at all these conversations, all these questions, it's all about the human in context. That's the reason, like Iyengar sir rightly mentioned in his keynote, the industry 5.0, it's all about human. It's all about you and me, right? So what I would suggest and recommend, don't just stick around the technologies, because the cyberspace is evolving day by day. Threatscape is evolving day by day. Learn to ask questions. Learn to understand the human psychology. Learn to understand why that particular product is built and why the particular hacker is behaving that way. That's very critical. Unless you start asking questions, you will not be able to challenge the status quo. Cyberspace, be it in a defensive side like us or the offensive, it's all about questioning the status quo, questioning the existence. Unless you do that, we'll all fail, right? Continuous learning is required that you cannot do unless you challenge the current status quo. That's my humble suggestion for you all.
Well said. My name is Shekhar. I'm founder CEO for a company called H-Shield. Being the large student group here will contextualize the subject. I just wanted to know, when we say to protect the global cyberspace, do you have any idea what are the damages, the costs right now because of the lack of cybersecurity? Any idea? Just can somebody throw a number? What's the level of damages that this is causing? Just throw a number. $2 to 3 trillion. That's an interesting one. Okay, if you're interested, just take a look at the site called cybersecurityventures.com. 2025, it is saying that $10.5 trillion are the damages on the cybersecurity. Can you guess what is $10.5 trillion? This is the third largest economy after US and China. Right? Third largest economy, the damages. Current year, I think 2023, this already crossed about $8.5 trillion from that estimate. The largest economy after the US and China. Because this is a classic example of some of the hackers on the dark web. They said that they were very famous hackers. They said that we are quitting, we are retiring on the forum. And then people asked along with that, it seems, why is it? Because we had made $2 billion and we don't want to be greedy and we are retiring. Okay. That's the state of affairs along with that. Okay. And the other thing for the students here it is. I think I want to name you this quote from a famous scientist. Okay. Who is a scientist? But here is a quote. We cannot solve the current problems with the level of intelligence with which we have created. Who was that? From the students. We cannot solve the current problem with the level of intelligence with which we have created. Any clue who was the scientist, the greatest scientist? Come on, guys. I think Mr. Sriram knows about that. Albert Einstein. And it's applicable aptly right now because this space demands the fresh minds. This space has a capacity to absorb the ultimate intelligence. If you guys are ready for the challenge, the ultimate on the intelligence, and I think Priyaji was also saying that it emotionally also it will challenge you. Because what you have learned, implemented today in 3 months, it's out. It hurts your ego. Right? This is the space that will test your intelligence to the ultimate. If you're game for it, I mean, there are other jobs along with that, but this is the highest paid one. When Priyaji said 1.5x, I have seen personally 3x has been paid for the cybersecurity professionals. It's not just like a one-off. Okay, money is there, but are you ready for that intellectual challenge, or you want to go back to that regular IT job, 8 to 10 years, work along with that, flat car, EMI, the regular ones along with that, that's fine, nothing wrong along with that. But if you're a game for a challenge, this is the space. This is the space for you to really come in. Okay, just to give you an example that what we do, you know, all of you use passwords. How many passwords do you use on an average? 12. That's great. Okay, on an average, it seems we have about 40 passwords from the research. And someone was also saying that the hacks that recently what we have seen, especially on the few years back on the big baskets, they hacked and they got all the passwords and email combinations in that. And when that data was there, the data was put onto the other websites, not only on the big basket. 40% of them went through. Why? Because we repeat the passwords. We can't remember those passwords. Do you know when was the passwords implemented first? 1970s.
60,
yeah, maybe wrong with that. 60. And we continue to use passwords. Here we are, you know, where we went from computing from Pentium chips to the kind of ultimate chips, computing from the, you know, going to the generative AI right now, supercomputing, quantum computing coming in. But when it comes to our own protection, we are using a technology of 70s. In fact, early 2014, 15, I come from telecom background. We were the ones who introduced OTPs. Where we said that, look, it's an alternate channel and, you know, it's kind of a not on the same stuff. Great. Yeah. I mean, it's a multi-factor authentication and all those things we convinced the market. You know what? Internally, we thought that this market just only for 5 years. After that, somebody will do something. There were vulnerabilities even at that time. We thought that this thing will change. Here we are in 2023, almost about 20 years later. We still are using the OTPs. You know the opportunities with this that's been available right now. In fact, what we do is we replace OTPs and passwords. That's what our company does. Okay, this is a classic case of a huge kind of an potential and opportunities that's been there, and it will be there for coming for much longer time before we can reasonably feel secured that our online presence have been taken care technologically, because this is a very unique problem of technical and the human. You need to deal with the psychology as well as the technical competence. Okay, how many of you heard about you have been pawned website? Very good. Okay, quite a few of them, and that level of awareness. As per that, you know, there are 4.5 billion online accounts, online users along. 8 billion email and passwords have already been hacked. And it has been there on this website. If you want to check right now, put your email ID. It'll give you a response. This is done by an Australian lady who is just doing a social work kind of a stuff where she's pulling all the data and putting it so that you know that whether your email ID has been hacked or not. And subsequently, they'll also give you now on which of the hacks that has happened, your email ID has been gone. So one of my friend was doing it and some nitro dot something is come. I says, I never use this site. Then we looked at it as a PDF converter. Yeah, I put a PDF converter. I use that and I put my passwords. So literally all our passwords are out there. As Mr. Iyengar was saying it, all our, at least now it is point for you to check and change your passwords at all the places wherever it is proactively. My invite to you students is that go a little bit more deeper into this, check this, check your, see if you're game for this for rest of your life, because there won't be any one day boring day in your life when you come into this space. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, so I think we have a clear overview. I think I can safely summarize. The cybersecurity is an area that still a lot of work has to be done because, like somebody was asking, oh, you're an expert in computer science. Has your password been hacked? Many, many times, because see, the reason I'm sort of telling you, I've dealt with some of the smartest people who could write and who could guess your password very clearly. There are some heuristics, right? Like 1, 2, 3, 4, or your wife's names or your spouse name, and there are a lot of combinations, permutations. One can look at it, and within maybe 3 or 4 hours, they can really figure out the password. So it has been hacked because there are a lot of emails I've received. Oh, your chancellor wants to see you immediately, and this is all of those things. So I wonder, I have a very complex password because I use a lot of alphanumeric characters and how to sort of figure out, but somebody has done it. No damage has taken place except for these kind of things. So there is a lot of work needs to be done. And I think as what we have seen, the important thing I also see the technical contribution, competency in coding, in many of these, attacks that we normally get it, how do you minimize it? So that is really an area of challenge. And, there are a lot of agencies like National Security Agency, DARPA, they'll pour billions of dollars to make sure we come up with some techniques that can be used very efficiently. So there are some questions perhaps anybody can answer. Now, has AI and ML, has those techniques has helped, or is that stalled the coding process, in cyber attacks? Anybody can answer. Anybody?
Can I take the question, sir?
Yeah.
So if I understand your question correctly, what's the implications, whether it really, let's take an example of, let's say, ChatGPT, for example. Your question is around whether it really killed the necessity of human. That's one way to interpret your question.
Correct.
Or the other way, it's like whether it really helped or created more damages to the cyberspace.
I don't say damages,
Okay.
because if you really take a look at GPT now, GPT is, anybody who is designing those programs, they are very smart people. But a lot of times it has also given a lot of wrong results, 50 to 60%, So, but there are some implications that you can say, for example, for some technical problems like protein folding, it has really given very good 98% result. So, but all that they are trying to do is to synthesize the rules that can be used, in many of these GPT applications.
Right.
So it has helped, but also at the same time, it has created more confusion.
Right.
Also.
So my read on that, sir, one, let's also be very realistic. The fuel for all these AI evolution, it's all based on the data that we as a human generate. That's one. Second thing, let's also accept what it cannot do. It cannot have a curiosity like you and me have. It cannot ask the beautiful question. Only you and me can ask the question. ChatGPT, like evolutions, can only give you the answer. Only you and me can ask the question. ChatGPT cannot learn itself. It can only learn based on the learning algorithms, what we built as on yesterday, right? Only humans can learn. Okay. That's my point, sir.
I have an answer for that. Look, ChatGPT, we have talked about it. We know about it. I think certainly, I would say may not be in next 5 years. They can certainly create a very perfect mimicking of human brain, because I mean, you have more powerful computers are there. And, look, when we talk about emotions and security and all of those things, those are very interesting problems, and they were a little bit difficult to handle maybe 5 or 6 years back. But now you can quantify it because there are methods, there are logical solutions for that. So the idea is, if you can generate fairly a good amount of data, that's the problem. For any problem, I think it can be solved, but there are some challenges also.
Yeah, actually, AI poses an interesting problem because it has accelerated things in many ways. Okay, in many ways, I mean, ethical, philosophical, legal, so many areas. For example, now artists are suing. The reason is that their artwork, supposing you had some old Lata Mangeshkar who's passed, let's say some artist, some musician who's dead now, samples from her voice can be used to make her sing new songs, which are there. But what about the artists who are there currently? Okay, samples from their voice are taken to create new songs, then those people, they are violated because how will they make a living? Similarly, down to it'll analyze art, paintings down to the brush strokes and everything. So if you had some old artists, say Ravi Verma or Leonardo da Vinci, they study those and then you can create new pieces in that genre. That is fine. But what about the current artists? So people will not buy their art. They will simply use that and then create more art. So based on that, those kinds of problems are also there. On the technical side, adversarial AI is being used to mimic, to hack, for example, phishing. So many people talk to create more and more convincing phishing emails. Not only that, to create malware, which is far more intelligent, with layers and layers of deception and all are there. Down to very mundane things like the assignments, college assignments and everything, which are being simply generated so people do not learn anything and all. So it raises questions across the board. Now, I'll just leave it at a few questions because today with AI ML, you need not even hack the software. You can just hack the data with which it is being trained and make it learn the wrong things, like introduce biases, or you do data poisoning, okay, or set the thresholds low so that you can get away with something else. For example, because it's learning something else, right? So all your hacks and all will go unnoticed. Let's say, for example, in a bank, what's normal behavior, it immediately catches up normal behavior. But if some fellow managed to train it the wrong things, then even abnormal behavior will go, frauds will go unnoticed. So in that manner, it poses a whole host of dangers. So there are different areas within AI coming up. As I had mentioned, the technology is racing ahead and people are catching up. There is responsible AI, there is ethical AI, and there is explainable AI in the sense that you're able to explain how it took decisions. For example, an autonomous car causes an accident. They have to be able to deconstruct it and explain that where it caused the accident, what was the decision that led to the accident, or a robo caused an accident. Okay, so these are going to be the new challenges. And of course, there are privacy in every area. There are going to be challenges with the new technologies coming up, and including as an industry body, we are worried about job losses and all the other things also. So this is the summary of what I wanted to say.
Okay, thank you. I think we have maybe another 5 more minutes to solicit questions from students.
Yeah. On this topic, I just want to add for a minute. See, my observation is all this AI ML capability, it helps as of now. See, I'll break the situation into two. 95% as is, which is running. There it helps to do those things in a much better way now. So, and then there are 5% exceptions, which all we are talking and we are all worried about, which it's a fair game. Any new thing coming up, there will be new challenges with it, and we have to appreciate, and things will evolve with that. But for the 95% of the existing things which runs and which makes things run normally, it will make life better for those technologies to evolve from what they can do today, and the humans which use those technology, it will make our life better. For example, when I look from Microsoft launching their module into their since Copilot as a module, so it will help the SOC analyst life much easier to interpret and much faster. So maybe If I earlier took 40 minutes to do something, and maybe I can do without the analytical part can be done in 5 minutes. So it saves my 40 minutes time. And as such, if I expand across the industry, the time of productivity will be much, much higher. But yes, there are 5% chances, as you said, there are so many things which will struggle. So that we have to think through and solve those problems.
I just wanted to thank you for that insight. Wanted to add one point. So in general, generalizing this, there are 3 areas in which essentially digitalization or all the related technologies like AI are going to help us improve. Okay. So number 1 is efficiency, which is making the existing things faster, better, automating it, speed in every way. Okay. There is something known as DDD, 3D or something, that dull, dirty, and dangerous jobs can be given off to robots and automation and everything, right? So beyond that, so 1 is efficiency. The second is improving our experience. Okay, so it improves our experience. For example, it's not merely cutting short the time. Let's say you book on an Uber or something like that. It improves your entire experience of, in fact, booking for the whole cab ride and everything, right? So it is the experience. And third part is the innovation. Okay, so now so far digitalization we have seen largely, 1 is the efficiency part, maybe a little bit about the experience part. Now you go online, you'll see more and more better experiences and all. But I believe with all the new technologies coming together and being put together in a manner, for example, let's say IoT, AI, everything come together, then all 3 are going to accelerate. All the 3 areas are going to take these things. I'll just close with one example. For example, let's say 5G comes, IoT gets enabled really well. Now, in primary healthcare centers, you don't have access. Primary healthcare centers are those healthcare centers in villages and all. They don't have access to experts. Okay. So now with superior communication technologies, they can examine patients also from remote, because the high quality video is there. They can examine him properly. And maybe a few instruments are required to really feed his temperature, blood pressure, and all these things, right? So now suddenly you've opened up access to experts across India or across the world also. So the free time of experts, let's say in Bangalore, can be used to service some remote village people and all that, right? And then you have a database. So there are 4 things you can bring together. 1 is the patient at the primary healthcare center. The other is the free time of the doctors and experts and everybody. The third is the database, patient's database of history, patient history. And perhaps the 4th one is some insurance scheme that ties all these things together. Okay, medical insurance or some insurance that ties all this, so everybody gets fairly paid, or all those things happen, right? So all these things suddenly are brought together. So you are improving everything at a time. There is business innovation happening. There is tech innovation happening. Maybe there are devices wherein that patient is just given and that data goes off into a database. And there is what you call efficiency. So 3 areas: efficiency, experience, and innovation. All these 3 are going to accelerate now. Thank you.
Can I add one back to that SOC example? It's a beautiful example. So what I meant to say is, one side we are blindly following those plus points. I'm not denying it, but let's also accept that the same the automation, say ML, has its own consequence. For example, the decision the SOC analyst is going to take is based on the data. He cannot say that, just because the tool says like, this is anomalous behavior, block it. Think about a consequence like it's going to, incorrectly block the CEO who's about to sign a deal in one of the remote countries, right? So what I'm raising caution, let's be very clear on the consequences and have an explainability part. Still, the SOC analyst is explainable to the decision he's going to make. That's my only point.
Okay, so I have a very interesting question from Professor Bharathanarayan. So there is a kind of an angle that he's trying to talk in the context of spirituality and human brain network for, say, cybersecurity. So why don't you say a few things what you want to do? Turn it on. Maybe take this one.
Respected gentlemen, honored of the dais, I hope that the success of any type of challenge that they are going to take up should be backed up by strong factors which produces the end results. So you should get the result through spiritualism, the concept of the talk. You may feel in the beginning that it may not be connected. At the same time, definitely I can say, yes, it is connected. How many of you, please raise the hands, including the dignitaries on the dais, have read the life history of a mathematician, Sriram Ramanujan? Please. Wonderful. From the student side, this is where you are lacking the inner human resources. Srinivasa Ramanujan, he died at a very young age. Do you know what's the reason? Health problems. Health problems. Just he lived for 30 plus years, and the achievement of the mathematician Srinivasa Ramanujan is of the depth of the black hole concepts and the sensor networks and AI, machine learning, almost all the persons experts now they are speaking and going back to Srinivasa Ramanujan mathematical works. I hope Professor S.S. Iyengar will agree this. And he himself is an expert in the world. In his name, students and experts, please note that there is a famous identity in sensor networks called Brook S.S. Iyengar identity. The world is digging towards it to get the results in all the interconnected fields of computer science. Now I'll come back to the point. If Srinivasa Ramanujan had good health, and if he had lived longer, say for 20 or 25 years more, what would have been the position of the cyber security discussions that we are doing now? Please note this. There was a health problem, he died, and still we can see the industry has progressed. People like Srinivasa Ramanujan or any other Vishweshwaraya, whatever it may be, definitely they have given high-level contributions which can simply accelerate your research and sheltering of the society, whether it is cyber industry or anywhere else. It is an interdisciplinary connected brand. So spiritualism is very important. Please note, all the students and the people here, weightlessness of the mind and the tensionlessness of the body are the basic inner sources for any working professional right now in the computer science industry. How to achieve it? Again, you have to approach an expert. Cyber security experts, they are all here. And similarly, how to enhance your quality of research and your velocity in the research progress, and how you are going to lift up your inner personal dimensions. Do you know, heart pumps thousands of liters of blood in the body, and it uses just around 5.5 liters of blood for its existence. So you can declare heart is a philanthropic organ. That means it works a lot 24/7, and it is capable of maintaining its existence just by pumping into itself 5.5 liters of blood. When heart fails, the man is gone. Respected people, please note this concept in the discussion. Companies, colleges, students, they should adopt. Otherwise, the progress in the discussion or the research levels deteriorates gradually. So what I'm saying is, God has given you two beautiful machines at the time of your birth. And it is given free to you, all of you, students, faculty. One is brain, for which you have never invested. Another is heart, that also have not invested. Brain is a continuously working machine. It is a production or a factory of thoughts. Heart is a machine which continuously works till the brain lives. And it is the factory of the production of feelings. Now you see the graph, you plot thought process versus feelings. In between, you are working. All the professionals, please, you do agree. Therefore, what I say is, if you want to come out with either students or faculty or IT professionals or CS professionals or managerial levels, we should know as a profession what is the human anatomy, what is the brain functioning, and how the heart and this works. For that, I would like to introduce the concept of good food habits, meditations, and concentration of the mind. Do you know how much energy mind has? Mind has energy. They say in Vedas, it is like 250 crore times the velocity of light. Mind energy.
Only one more.
Yes. Okay. So why I'm concentrating on this is, if you want, any one of you, you can contact me or phone or the institutes to see that this point of introduction of spiritualism through good food habits, meditation, and introducing the human anatomy for working professionals of the computer science industry is the dire necessity of the day, which you will realize in future. So anyhow, sorry for interrupting, because SS Iyengar requested me that you should introduce this concept to the audience with this permission. So I enjoyed this session, and thank you Inaugural again for this glorious function opportunities.
Okay, so there are some questions focused on cybersecurity. Maybe one last question we can take from students. Anything that you feel related to cybersecurity that I would like to hear from them. Okay, there is one. Why don't you give that microphone to?
Sir, I have.
Oh, you already have. Okay,
Yeah.
you already have. Yeah.
So I did have a couple of questions. So first thing is, we have so many open source technologies that is coming up or that is already there. So what is the level of reliability that we can place on those technologies regarding our data and its privacy?
Good question. Yeah, please.
I think it's a very interesting and apt question in today's world. No developer codes more than 50 to 60% of the lines that he codes in total from his own sources. So most of it are, he borrows it as a module. And the second piece, what you're asking is the open source technologies as well. Now, these open sources are also considered which is publicly available, or maybe someone has published in some forums. Now, I do not think it is advisable from an industry standards. We cannot create profitable ventures just trying to bring in developers to write everything from the scratch or just go with the licensed versions of everything. It's not a feasible thing, at least in today's world. Why? Because the cost of the end products would definitely go much higher than what we see today. But what we need to embed, and I think Sir talked about it a few times on it, is security by design. Now, so how do you engage security in every phase of development? We have different ways, SDLCs, agiles, we keep talking about it, and there are robust security mechanisms in every phases of it. We talk about DevOps nowadays, most of us would be engaged. We are also engaged into talking about DevSecOps. So even when you are putting it to production after a secure development, how are you ensuring that it does not have the vulnerabilities which can be exploited or at least known till then? What are the different source level scans you can do? and what are the other tools and mechanisms which can, put a control to it. So in short, I don't see an end to it, but I see a lot of focus in enabling the right tools to control or limit the exploitation of it.
So what is your next question?
So, when vulnerabilities are mentioned, so zero-day vulnerabilities, like what are the best practices to defend against these zero-day vulnerabilities?
So maybe.
Yeah.
Can you tell me what do you mean by zero-day vulnerability?
It is where it is not discovered yet. The vulnerability
right?
is not
So,
discovered
for
yet.
example,
So,
if I'm a developer of a Microsoft product, I'm developing Microsoft Office 365, and there is a RCE kind of vulnerability inside that. That means the company doesn't know that this has been exploited until now. So when they discover this is a bug, and then they try to fix it. So that is why it's called a zero-day, right? So in order to define through that, like for example, already they would have some sort of WAF or something which is in place in order to protect those things. But zero-day is exploiting through some kind of vulnerability, and they're getting data out of it, right? So once the company get to know, only the zero-day will be fixed. Until then, there's no point in there'll be no resolution for that.
correct. So in that case, VAPT team must be sorry.
Yeah. What's your question? VAPT, please continue.
So compared to VAPT and SOC, which one is having more better for our students in future?
So both are good. You can have a separate discussion on that. So the thing is that please understand, this zero-day vulnerability is a major problem in the industry. You just take Windows 11. Okay, from the time Windows 11 was released till now, at least 2.5 gig of patches have been released, which means that there were so many bugs that got fixed. So having done that, AI ML is one solution that they're embracing, because it is not signature based, but it is behavior based. That means there is some malicious behavior happening, and it is not as such signature based per se. So it still stops. And then of course there is multiple layers of defense you have. Okay, there are various models of security, right, from zero trust architecture, so that you're protected, very well protected. Okay, so that is there. Again, those models and all, it's too much. We can't discuss right now. So that is there. So in which they do, I'll just give you one example. For example, in cloud, supposing B2B business is there, you whitelist the people or the ones your parties were, the others are not even allowed to access. So then what will happen is that you will cut off all those. You can simply block off a number of IP addresses. Let's say those from which you don't have any business. Let's say China, you don't have any business, you can block all the IP addresses from there. Yes. So in that manner, there are various ways of setting your security posture so that you are relatively more secure. But there is absolutely no one-shot solution saying that how do you solve zero-day vulnerabilities? Okay, so that is there. It's an open world out there.
One last question. Yeah.
Can I answer your last question? I understand as a student. In cybersecurity, every space has opportunities. Stay hungry, stay curious. Every space. But don't assume that whatever you learned yesterday is going to help you tomorrow. Stay curious, stay asking questions.
I'll just add to that. See, there are two mindsets. Okay, I'll be very specific there. SOC is more of an analyst, so you're more of a defender in your mind. Okay, VAPT is more of you're trying to exploit, attacking from your mind. Of course, when you do VAPT, you can't tell for what you will do. So invariably, entire tech stack you can do. You want to attack something or find it out vulnerability in cloud or IoT. So what I'm trying to say, mindset is to find some weakness in somebody, that somebody can do anything. So that's if you like and enjoy that, don't worry about the job, as he said. So that's fine. Both are there. Both work together. In fact, if you go at a very mundane level, the VA input goes to SOC and it becomes all, it's like a friend working together. But from the mindset as a student, if you like exploring something, trying to attack and all that, then that's the go for VAPT. And there are a lot of words, a lot of jargons. You go, you'll find 10 more words like that.
Okay, one last question. I think it's getting time. Yeah.
Sure. Just to kind of extend that thought for her to do, so just all the questions put together. what is the capability of a cybersecurity experts required for if a zero day stuff has been identified, right? You go to the kind of a source of it and say that every time we look into any challenges like that, the question goes to the designer or the coder. Wouldn't you have thought about this? Is it impossible to think about this vulnerability? That's the approach, another approach to really kind of look at or potentially what you can anticipate while you're designing the stuff. When we say security by design, that while designing itself, you should be able to anticipate. You should leave it only for few things that is impossible to think through that still can come, but most of it, that capacity, it's something like you guys looked at Jamtara, right? Yeah. Most of it. So yes. You know the kind of a challenges along. Yeah. You seen Sherlock Holmes?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Sherlock Holmes multiplied by 10 times analytical capability is what you require.
Yes,
That's
sir.
it.
Thank you very much. Let's give a big hand for all our distinguished speakers. So I think that should complete. Again, I want to thank all of these distinguished people who have worked in industry, have lots of good experiences and lots of things that all the students can carry back to your classes. And then we want you to be better than what we are today. So think about it in that direction and help us to move forward. And there are always problems forever, but we should keep solving one at a time. Again, I want to thank all of you for being a part of it.
Sir, I think there is few questions still. People, the students are curious to ask.
Okay. Please, ask them.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, all the delegates. So my question is, what is industry looking up from the students? What kind of skills does the industry actually want? Like few of us are interested in SOC, few of us are interested in cybersecurity auditing, few of us are interested in lab.
I would urge you to go to NASSCOM Future Skills Prime, in which they've identified the 10 areas what industry is looking for. All this research has been done already. Okay. So in that, cybersecurity is one. Under that, what are the areas? They're all there. Okay. So go to futureskills.nasscom.in.
Okay. Anybody wants to add for that question?
Yeah, I think Sriram sir already has shown a slide which talks about the complete roles. And in those roles, what you want to do is what you should decide. You want to sit as an analyst and take some few lakhs of rupees, or you want to head the complete cyber defense fusion center on the blue teaming seminar I'm talking about. To you, red teaming, do you want to hack some good plane and make some money, like millions of dollars? Go to that extent, or you want to, be a VAPT analyst earning some lakhs. Both are in your hand. So what do you want to become is what you should choose now. You want to maintain that low-level job or mid-level job and continue for a few years and exit, or you want to go to the top levels. Is that what you need to decide now and work towards it?
So can I, for all the roles, I would again repeat, seeing my head, you can make out, don't stick to the technologies, learn to ask the questions. That's what the hackers does. Question the status quo. Question the status quo, how you can do by asking beautiful questions. That's very much important. SOC today, maybe after 5 years, ChatGPT and all the technologies might take over all these SOCs, but learn to ask questions that only you and me can do. Again, I repeat, learn to ask questions. So it will help you to, learn more. That's very important. Question the status quo.
Thank you. I think that should complete because the discussions can go on. Oh, there is one more hand. Okay, let's take the last question from you. Please go ahead.
Okay, let this be the last question. The person at the last. Let this be the last question, please.
Yeah, please go ahead. Okay,
I think you need to take a mic. Can you please, somebody can help her.
Hello.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Now, from dignitaries, basically my question is, with the growing complexity of the IT infrastructure and IoT devices, what possible real-time AI threats to the cybersecurity field and domain in space, and how does it help or towards the mankind? Because we are the cybersecurity experts for the next gen, we should know how AI will replace us and how dangerous the AI is at the same time.
Okay, I think there are two separate parts to it.
Yeah.
How AI will replace us and all those kinds of things. Those are the general ones which are there. But there is a lot of discussion going on. You can connect with us separately about how AI poses a threat to the security and all that. I would urge you to look up adversarial AI. Okay, please look up and read more on that.
I will make one
Okay.
comment. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, how AI is being used to for malicious purposes. Okay, it's called adversarial AI. Just go and look at it. That was the one.
So if I can add a little bit for it, see, it's a very new domain, and every leader, if you look at it, they have a different conflicting thoughts. If you listen to Tesla guy will say something, OpenAI leader saying something. Now, if you read yesterday's news, Biden has got 7 top AI leaders to sign on some kind of acceptance that they will be responsible AI creator. So that it is still not evolved to answer you in a definite way that, okay, will it be the threat? Do we see it today and we'll be able to handle it properly? But idea is that entire world is now looking into that question. And at that level, it is getting decided and discussions are happening. And I'm sure each of those leaders who are leaders like Google, Meta's head, and Tesla's head, who are creating those new, they are working on that aspect. I'm looking from safety of human being and that aspect. While work-wise, it is as people have said, that will go on.
So
one last sentence to cover that. Yeah, forget about the problems created by artificial intelligence. We have a lot of problems to solve from the natural stupidity.
Basically, the world is evolving from computing to edge right now, and above that, the mankind itself is using cybersecurity AI technology. So AI itself is a threat base. So place the AI for cybersecurity stuff, then AI might take the info that we are storing in it and become a threat to us at the end. That's the way I will like frame the question.
Well, I don't know. I mean, there is a lot of discussions that are going on. I think so. There are about 100 or 150 computer scientists, including Jeffrey Hinton, who is really a prodigy of neural network model. So I think I can say, with my experience of 4 or 5 decades, AI has done a lot of good things, but with the way in which things are going right now in different places, there is bound to be losing control eventually, but it may not happen in my lifetime, maybe 5 or 10 years from now, that, the AI and machine learning may do more harmful than what we expected. But that's just a kind of a speculation people are thinking. But I think I also agree, because if you had asked me 15 or 20 years back when I was going and giving talks on AI, everybody wanted us to do a lot of work. There are a lot of things what you are seeing, intelligent robots and all, we have done that long back, maybe 30 years back. But now things are kind of, really enhancing in the idea and application of AI for a lot of variety of good users, like Alexa and things like that. You see, that's very helpful. But there may be an anticipation, people are speculating, it might also be kind of a thing, it can work in a negative way, but I don't know how to address that point. Okay, I think this is already 1:30 now. Thanks for all the good discussions. Please, continue your conversation with these people. So let's give a big hand one more time for all our speakers, Priya Madhavan and Bharatnarayan and so many of you. And of course, more importantly, the students. I mean, they are the future stakeholders in many of these areas what we are talking. Thank you again. Thank you.
I request all the dignitaries to be off the dais.
Yeah.
What goes in the mind is forgotten. What goes in the stomach just passes through. But that which goes in the heart is logged like a keepsake diary that never leaves you. This day, the 22nd of July, was really awesome. And all the dignitaries who are here, you will remain in our hearts for sure. As a token of love and appreciation, we would be delighted to present you a small memorial. Just in random order, may I request first Dr. N.V.H. Krishnan, Registrar, Jain University, to hand over a token of love and appreciation to Dr. Sriram B. Thank you so much, sir. I request Dr. Sridhar Murthy, sir, Director Academics, Jain University, to hand over a token of love and appreciation to Ms. Priya Madhavan. May I now request Dr. Jitendra Kumar Mishra, Director, Maths Institute of Management and Entrepreneurship, to hand over a token of love and appreciation to Mr. Souvik Das. I would definitely request Dr. Krishnan and Dr. Sridhar Murthy also to join Dr. Mishra, because all three of you, if you could be here, I would be able to call them because I would not have to call you again and again and again. So all three of you, if you could be here. Please, sir, please. May I call up Mr. Pawan Kumar to come and take a token of love and appreciation. Obviously, you can clap for them, please. You all have been enlightened by them. May I request Mr. Amit Raj Singh to come up on the dais. Mr. Gagan Jain. Mr. Gagan Jain. Thank you. Mr. Shekhar Rao. Mr. Shekhar Rao. Mr. Vijay Kumar. And may I now call upon Mr. Balaji Rajendran to come up and please receive a token of love and appreciation. May I request Professor Bharat Narayan to please come up and accept a token of love and appreciation from our side. Yeah, I'm calling. Huh? Mr. Arun, please come up onto the dais. Mr. Vijay Kumar Bussetti. Mr. Vijay Kumar, Regional Director, Cyberbit. Oh, you have got it? Okay, thank you. Huh? Okay. Okay. Now may I call upon the person who was the backbone behind this entire conclave, Dr. S.S. Iyengar, please come up onto the dais. Thank you everyone. Thank you. Sir, please be seated, sir. Saying a thank you creates a bonding of love and a chance of saying hello again. I request Dr. N.V.H. Krishnan, Registrar, Jain deemed to be University, to deliver the vote of thanks.
I'm reminded of the old adage, all good things have to come to an end. So it was a fantastic discussion, and we had a lot of insights into Industry 5.0. I think Industry 5.0, one thing is very clear, it's going to get dominated by information technology. And today, you know, we don't refer to cars, we refer to a computer on 4 wheels, right? So anyone who buys a Tesla is not buying a car, he's buying a computer, but which has 4 wheels. So yes, that is the future, and very, very eloquently brought out by all the speakers and by the panel members. There's a long list of people that I would like to thank. First, I start with our Chancellor, Dr. Chenraj Roychand, without whose inspiration and support, all this is not possible. Any of this is not possible. Dr. Dattaguru, who brought Dr. Iyengar to us, he was in US, and then, you know, it was a chance phone call between two old friends. I think we brought Dr. Iyengar to us, and he has spent close to, I think, maybe 3-4 months now, sir. 4 months. And, you know, these two words I've heard many, many times over the past 4 months: cybersecurity. So he lives, he thinks, he eats, he drinks cybersecurity. Dr. Iyengar. Then we have had the event coordinators, Preeti Bandari and Mr. Prasad, who have worked relentlessly to make all this happen. We also would like to thank the heads of the 3 schools: the School of Computer Science and Computer Science and Engineering, Computer Science and IT. So Computer Science and Engineering, Dr. Geeta; Computer Science and IT, Dr. Jitendra Mishra; and that of Forensic Science, that is Dr. Asha. So they all also put together a lot of content for this conclave, and even otherwise, they've created a lot of programs in collaboration with the guidance of Dr. Iyengar. They've done a lot of work, which is extended over nearly 4 to 6 months now. Mr. Sriram from DSCI, and yes, we have signed a MOU with them as from Jain University also, and it was a very good talk that Dr. Sriram gave, and a lot of, you know, that question about opportunities for cybersecurity students, I think, was very well covered in one of the slides. So, and then Priya Madhavan from NASCOM for having come and then delivered the lecture. Ved Vidwan and Sangeet Vidwan, Bharat Narayan sir for coming here. The panelists, all the panelists, they were fantastic. Mr. Sovik Das, Pavan Kumar, Mr. Amit Raj Singh, Mr. Gagan Jain, Mr. Arun, Mr. Shekhar Rao, Mr. Vijay Kumar Busetti, thank you very much. The whole lot of other people that I would like to thank. But then, you know, I will be holding up lunch for you. So thank you very much once again. And I forgot, most important, the audience, the students who have registered and who have come here. And, you know, I think last but not the least, you were fantastic. Thank you very much.
Thank you also, sir, so much. Thank you, everybody. This brings us to the end of the wonderful conclave on Industry 5.0 and the challenges in the cyber security. Wish you all a very happy weekend, and please drive back home safe. All the students are requested to please take the door here, and all the delegates to please take the door on the right.
Okay, let's give a big hand for our
Thank you. All the delegates, please do wait for a small video bite which you need to give. All the delegates. Rest the delegates can please leave from the door on the right, and all the students from the door on the left. Thank you, everybody.